Chapter 32-36. Ah. Cheng Yi sniffed Lin Yi's manly scent. She was a little aroused, but she didn't expect that Lin Yi didn't want to touch her at all. She was a little disappointed. To be honest, after spending time with Lin Yi, Su Shihan's heart was secretly in love with him, and Cheng Yi actually had a good impression of Lin Yi. It was just that the huge pressure on her would sometimes cover up this good impression. When Cheng Yi wanted to get rid of this pressure, her good impression of Lin Yi would suddenly be released, just like when Su Shihan found her mother. Cheng Yi didn't say anything. She silently turned around and walked to the door. She bent down and picked up her pajamas from the floor. However, Lin Yi secretly swallowed his saliva. The moment Cheng Yi bent down, the mysterious area under her body was right in front of Lin Yi's eyes. It made Lin Yi feel like his blood was about to burst. Lin Yi felt that Cheng Yi did it on purpose. Yes, Cheng Yi did it on purpose. She was a little unconvinced. Before, she wanted to give her body to Lin Yi out of helplessness, but Lin Yi rejected her. It made Cheng Yi feel hurt. Wasn't she pretty? Wasn't she sexy? Wasn't her figure good? Why did Lin Yi reject her? Therefore, Cheng Yi thought of ways to seduce Lin Yi again. When she quickly turned around, she saw Lin Yi's face was a little red. She immediately smiled. It seemed that Lin Yi wasn't really calm. It was just that his willpower was good. He definitely had some thoughts about her. Thinking of this, Cheng Yi felt a little balanced again. Although Cheng Yi wore her pajamas, it was just a nightgown. There was nothing underneath, and there were no buttons on the top either. There was only a belt around the waist that tied the nightgown up. If Cheng Yi sat down, her upper body would be faintly discernible. Cheng Yi was like a wild cat. She smiled slyly and sat in front of Lin Yi. From Lin Yi's angle, he could see her chest through her collar, ahem. Lin Yi was a little helpless. He reluctantly turned his eyes away and said to Cheng Yi, "Tell me, why are you looking for me?" "Sex." Cheng Yi said. "Pfft." Cough, cough, cough. Lin Yi coughed after hearing Cheng Yi's words. "I'm serious. You've seen it just now. It's true." Cheng Yi shrugged innocently, revealing a large gap in her neckline. Lin Yi's gaze was attracted by Cheng Yi's sex again. He didn't expect to see something he shouldn't have seen again. He couldn't help but feel a little speechless. "Okay. Actually, I'm here to be honest with you." Cheng Yi knew that enough was enough. If she kept going with Lin Yi might find it interesting at first. But after a while, he might kick her out. That would be a tragedy for her. Earth class early phase. "I've known for a long time." Lin Yi put away his awkward smile and said directly when they got down to business. "How did you know? When did you find out? Or did you already know my identity?" Cheng Yi asked in surprise. "From the first time I saw you, I already knew. When Su Shihan went out with us, I already suspected you, but I wasn't sure." Lin Yi said, "You're right. You suspected me then." Cheng Yi was stunned. She didn't expect to be exposed so early. She couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. "Lin Yi, I'm a star. Being good at acting is my specialty. You suspected me the first time you saw me. Am I that bad?" "It has nothing to do with your acting." Lin Yi waved his hand. "I have an ability that allows me to see the level of a person's strength. As long as it's a spiritual practitioner, they don't need to use their practitioner's arts to know their level. Of course, you can also report this ability to your master, Feng Tianhu." "You know." Cheng Yi's eyes widened. She didn't expect Lin Yi to be able to guess that she was Feng Tianhu's person. She couldn't help but feel a little awkward. Don't worry. I won't say anything. I didn't tell Feng Tianhu about the blood-clothed underworld sect helping to kill the Grand Elder of the Black Horse Gang. I only said that Han and I left, leaving you in the room. Then, the Grand Elder died. Ha! Lin Yi smiled and didn't deny it. Since Cheng Yi decided to be honest, she naturally wouldn't be on the same side as Feng Tianhu. So this was reasonable. Then why didn't you say that you knew that I was a practitioner and suspected me? Cheng Yi didn't dwell on the previous topic. Lin Yi didn't say anything, which meant that Lin Yi didn't want to pursue this matter. This also meant that she had hope of getting Lin Yi's forgiveness. I saw it, so I'm not sure. Lin Yi shook his head and explained, with your strength, killing Feng Sanhuang and Su Shihan was a very easy thing to do. You didn't need to rely on outsiders. So, although I suspected that you led us into a dark alley that day, there were too many unexplainable things, so I'm not sure. So that's how it is. Cheng Yi was stunned and shook her head with a bitter smile. Actually, Feng Tianhu wanted me to do it myself, but Xiao Han and I are from the same sect. Although I approached Xiao Han with a purpose, but, as time passed, the relationship between me and Xiao Han became deeper and deeper. When I was sure that Xiao Han was Feng Tianling's illegitimate daughter, I couldn't do it anymore. Looks like, you're not someone with a heart of stone. That means you can still be saved. Lin Yi nodded. This was also the reason why he let Cheng Yi live and didn't kill her. Cheng Yi was a loyal person, then how are you going to explain to Feng Tianhu? I'll say that I'm a celebrity, a public figure. After all, I make a living in the common world. If I kill someone myself, it'll be fine if they don't find out. But if they find out, then I'll have to run. Cheng Yi said, I can't just run back to my family and sect like other cultivators. My identity is there, and Feng Tianhu also needs me to help him earn money in the common world. So he didn't hesitate and agreed to my suggestion. He sent someone else to kill Su Shihan, and I'll work with him from the inside. You're pretty smart. Lin Yi didn't think that Cheng Yi wasn't stupid. She came up with an excuse like this. Why do you work for Feng Tianhu? Chapter 32-37. Oh. Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect Cheng Yi to have a younger brother. Then he taught us how to cultivate. When I was 10 years old, my brother was taken away by Feng Tianhu and we were separated. I was asked to be trained as a celebrity, and my brother never appeared in front of me again. Cheng Yi couldn't help but sigh as she said this. Feng Tianhu used your brother as a threat to force you to do things for him. Lin Yi suddenly understood. If that was the case, Cheng Yi had her own difficulties. She was swaying between her brother and her best sister. She couldn't bear to give up one of them. It seemed like he was lucky that he didn't kill her. So she had this kind of unknown pain. Yes. Cheng Yi nodded. Every once in a while, Feng Tianhu would send me pictures of my brother. He told me that my brother was living well and was still cultivating. But the more he did that, the more I felt uneasy. If I betrayed him, Feng Tianhu would definitely harm my brother. Then why did you choose to be honest with me? Lin Yi asked. Because I can't let Xiao Han shield me from the wind and rain because of my mistake. I don't want to hide it anymore, it's too painful for me. Cheng Yi shook her head and blinked her big eyes. Anne. Feng Tianhu is afraid of you. Afraid of me. You know the truth. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. As expected, Cheng Yi needed something from him. Otherwise, she wouldn't have seduced him. It seemed like Cheng Yi was willing to risk it all for her brother. But Feng Tianhu doesn't know. Cheng Yi said matter-of-factly. I'll help you ask what's going on. Lin Yi sighed and said, "This is a bit troublesome. Feng Tianhu might not let you go so easily." "What do you mean?" Cheng Yi was slightly stunned. "Feng Tianhu is a sinister person. You don't know that." Lin Yi waved his hand and explained, "He's a person who will do anything to achieve his goals. If he could kill his own son to frame Feng Shipian, then you can imagine what kind of person he is. What I'm afraid of is that if I don't ask, Feng Tianhu will have a hostage. He won't be afraid of me doing anything to him." "Ah!" Cheng Yi was shocked. Lin Yi's analysis was very reasonable. It could be said that he accurately grasped Feng Tianhu's personality. This meant that if Lin Yi asked this, it would mean that she and Lin Yi had some sort of agreement. Feng Tianhu could use her brother to threaten Lin Yi, so that Lin Yi wouldn't dare to do anything to him. "So, I can only ask Feng Shipian about this and see if he knows. If I ask Feng Tianhu, not only will he not return your brother, but he will also use it to threaten you and do something even worse," Lin Yi said. "I'm sorry, I was too naive." Cheng Yi was too worried. She just thought that Feng Tianhu was afraid of Lin Yi, but she didn't think that if Feng Tianhu had a hostage, it would be equivalent to having a life-saving talisman. Would he let go so easily? That was obviously not the case. "I'll ask Feng Shipian first," Lin Yi said. N. Cheng Yi quickly nodded. He dialed up Feng Shipian's number. "Boss?" Feng Shipian was already asleep, but when his phone rang, he saw that it was Lin Yi's number and immediately picked it up. "What's up?" "Shipian, first of all, you can tell your father that Xiaohan's mother has been found, but don't let anyone else know, do you understand?" Lin Yi said. "Ah. Found?" Feng Shipian was startled. He didn't think that Su Shihan's mother, his father's old lover, had been found. This was good news, and it could solve one of his father's problems. As for telling others, Feng Shipian wasn't stupid. "Don't worry, boss, I won't say anything. If my mother finds out, she might cause trouble again. As long as you know." Lin Yi nodded. Feng Tianhu already knew about this, but Lin Yi wanted to hide it from Dongfang Xiaocui. Lin Yi didn't want the Dongfang family's people to get involved. After all, Lin Yi's strength wasn't real. If too many people came, it would be exposed sooner or later. Of course, there was no need to tell this to Feng Shipian. He continued, "She is the old dean of Songshan Orphanage, but it's good that your father knows. Don't do anything for now, or it will be exposed." "I understand." Feng Shipian nodded. "One more thing, just now, Feng Tianhu found a great elder of the Black Horse Society to assassinate the old dean." Lin Yi said. "My third uncle. He found someone from the Black Horse Society. The great elder of the Black Horse Society. Wouldn't that be a peak late phase heaven class master? What happened to him?" Feng Shipian was shocked and quickly asked. "Dead." Lin Yi said, "The old dean is fine, don't worry." "That's good, boss is the best." Feng Shipian was very surprised at how a sky-class late-phase peak master died, but there were rumors in the ancient times that Lin Yi could instantly kill sky-class late-phase peak masters. It seemed like the rumors were true. "One last thing, do you know Cheng Yi?" Lin Yi asked. "Cheng Yi? I know her, my sister's junior sister." Feng Shipian knew that Su Shihan was his sister, so he often paid attention to her news. Naturally, he knew about Cheng Yi. "No, I'm talking about Cheng Yi's other identity." Lin Yi said. "What other identity does Cheng Yi have?" Feng Shipian paused, not understanding what Lin Yi meant. "She's a chess piece of Feng Tianhu." Lin Yi saw that Feng Shipian didn't know about Cheng Yi, so he explained, "No, Cheng Yi has turned to the light, but her brother is in Feng Tianhu's hands. Can you help me ask around? Her brother. That's fine, what's his name? If he's in our ancient Feng family, then there's hope. If he's not, then there's nothing I can do. Feng Shipian said. And what's your brother's name? Lin Yi turned to look at Qing Yi. Qing Yi ran. Qing Yi said, he's 2 years younger than me. He should be 16 this year. I heard that he just reached the early phase heaven class master. Qing Yi ran, 16 years old, early phase heaven class master. Lin Yi said. Chapter 32-38. Why? Lin Yi paused. Ancient Feng family, I'm the only heaven class master among the younger generation. 16 years old. Younger than me, how could I not know? Feng Shipian explained with a bitter smile. I see. Alright, then help me keep an eye out. Lin Yi frowned. It seemed like Feng Tianhu hid Qing Yi ran. But Lin Yi was a bit puzzled. How did Feng Tianhu control Qing Yi ran? Logically speaking, Qing Yi ran's strength was already very powerful. She could totally escape and not be controlled by Feng Tianhu. No problem, I will definitely keep an eye out for you. Feng Shipian said. If I directly kill my way to the ancient Feng family and kill Feng Tianhu, do you have the confidence to find that Qing Yi ran? Lin Yi pondered for a moment and asked. No. Feng Shipian quickly said. No. Why? Lin Yi paused. Boss, within the Feng family, competition is not forbidden. This was tacitly agreed by my grandfather. Now that everyone knows that you are my boss, if you come to the Feng family and kill my third uncle, then it will be very difficult for me. Colluding with outsiders to assassinate a family member, I will be kicked out of the ancient Feng family. Feng Shipian smiled bitterly. Feng Tianhu can just find someone to assassinate Su Shihan. Lin Yi asked back. That's in the dark. To be honest, the ancient Feng family has never acknowledged my sister's identity. If she dies, my grandfather won't say anything. But boss, if you come directly to the family, that's different. Feng Shipian was a kind person. He definitely wouldn't do something like this. Then we'll talk about it later. Lin Yi shook his head. Actually, even if Lin Yi went to look for Feng Tianhu, with this guy's ruthlessness, he might not be able to tell him where Qing Yi ran was hiding. Lin Yi was just saying it casually, he didn't have absolute confidence that he could defeat the ancient Feng clan. Once he attacked the ancient Feng clan, it would arouse the fear of the ancient Dongfang clan and the Everyday Sun sect. If the three clans joined forces, he would be finished. After hanging up the phone, Lin Yi looked at the disappointed Qing Yi and comforted her. Yi, don't worry. This matter has to be done step by step. Your brother is in Feng Tianhu's hands, so he shouldn't be in danger. For the time being, you just need to feign civility with him. Discuss with me what he wants you to do, and I'll tell you what to do. All right. Qing Yi thought about it. It was true. After so many years, a little more time wouldn't make a difference. Also, Lin Yi was right. As long as she was still working for Feng Tianhu had no reason to do anything to Feng Shipian. Let Feng Shipian find out about Qing Yi ran's whereabouts first. It wouldn't be too late for Lin Yi to make a move then. So he said, just now, Feng Tianhu called and asked me to spy on you and test your attitude to see if you have any intention of doing anything to Feng Tianhu. Oh. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He didn't think that Feng Tianhu's intention was involved in the previous matter. It seemed that Qing Yi listened to half of Feng Tianhu's suggestion. After thinking about it, Lin Yi said, then tell him that you didn't succeed. I was slightly injured today, and I just leveled up, so I didn't, that with you. But you've already made a good impression on me, so I won't do anything to him for the time being. Because I asked for Feng Shipian's opinion, just tell him what Feng Shipian said. Okay, I understand. Chang'e blushed and nodded. Okay, go back and call Feng Tianhu. Rest early and don't think too much. Lin Yi comforted her. Okay. Chang'e nodded and stood up. But she didn't leave. She hesitated for a moment, then suddenly leaned down and kissed Lin Yi's forehead like a chick pecking rice. The scenery of her chest was reflected in Lin Yi's eyes again. Actually, with Lin Yi's strength, he could have completely avoided it, but Chang'e didn't have any bad intentions, and Lin Yi was still a little reluctant, so he accepted it. Chang'e saw that Lin Yi didn't avoid it and was a little happy, but she didn't dare to take another step. She was afraid that Lin Yi would chase her away, so she ran out of Lin Yi's room first. Lin Yi looked at Chang'e's back and shook his head. In fact, Chang'e wasn't a scheming girl. After Chang'e returned to her room, she dialed Feng Tianhu's number. So fast. Feng Tianhu had been holding the phone, waiting for Chang'e's news. Otherwise, he wouldn't feel at ease and couldn't sleep. If Lin Yi really wanted to deal with him, he would have to think about how to escape. Yeah. I took off my clothes, and Lin Yi was a bit interested in my body. But he was injured today, and he'd just broken through. He needed to stabilize his strength, so he just hugged me and talked. He didn't do anything else. Chang'e reported to Feng Tianhu. She didn't hide anything and used a narrative tone. Oh. Lin Yi was injured and broke through. Feng Tianhu was surprised. Yes, Lin Yi fought with the Supreme Elder of the Black Horse Gang and was injured, but he also broke through to the peak of the early phase of heaven rank, Chang'e said. Motherfucker. Feng Tianhu cursed. An early phase of heaven rank could kill a peak of the late phase of heaven rank, and now that he broke through, wouldn't he be able to instantly kill a peak of the late phase of heaven rank? I don't know about that. Let's not talk about the fact that Lin Yi is only interested in my body. He doesn't really like me. Even if he really likes me, he might not tell me the limit of his strength. Chang'e said. It was reasonable for her to say so, which made Feng Tianhu even more confused and bewildered. That's right. Feng Tianhu nodded. Then does Lin Yi know that I was the one who dealt with him? Yes, the Supreme Elder of the Black Horse Gang betrayed you before he died, Chang'e said. What? This old thing, the Supreme Elder. He's not reliable at all. Feng Tianhu was so angry that he cursed. Why did he have to drag someone down with him after he died? However, he still hurriedly asked, did Lin Yi want to cause trouble for me? Yes, but he called Feng Shipian. Lin Yi said that he wanted to kill his way to your door and settle the score with you, but Feng Shipian stopped him. Chang'e said. Why? Feng Tianhu was a little puzzled. His nephew actually wanted to protect him. Chapter 32-39. That's right, our ancient Feng family is indeed like that. Feng Tianhu nodded. So, colluding with outsiders to assassinate a family member will result in being kicked out of the ancient Feng family. Chang'e said the same. Ha! Feng Tianhu laughed. Did Lin Yi agree? Yes, this phone call was made in front of me. Chang'e said. That's good, that's good. Feng Tianhu let out a sigh of relief. You did well. Don't worry, I'll take some recent photos of Iran and send them to you. You'll be a spy next to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi does anything strange, you have to tell me immediately, especially if it's about me. Okay, thank you boss. Chang'e pretended to be grateful. No need to thank me, I know you hate me in your heart. We'll just take what we need. Feng Tianhu said indifferently, and Lin Yi is a talented young man. You won't lose anything by following him. It should be fun to show off. To be honest, I don't have a way out. If I knew Lin Yi would be like this, I would have let Nitian recognize him as the boss long ago. Would it even be Feng Shishan's turn? Cheng Yi didn't say anything and hung up. The next morning, Cheng Yi went to eat breakfast with Su Shihan. Obviously, Su Shihan didn't know that Cheng Yi was a spy. Cheng Yi wanted to say something a few times, but just when she was about to speak, she saw Lin Yi walk into the orphanage's cafeteria. He shook his head at Cheng Yi, signaling her not to say anything for now. Cheng Yi couldn't help but blush. She remembered what happened last night, but she listened to Lin Yi. Lin Yi said to wait, so she'll wait. The misunderstanding between Cheng Yi and Su Shihan could be easily solved between the two of them, but with the dean here, it wouldn't be good. The dean would be angry because she didn't understand the relationship between Cheng Yi and Su Shihan. Therefore, it was better to wait until they went back. It was better to be happy in the orphanage. Old Dean, I called Feng Shipian yesterday. He will tell Uncle Tian Lin your identity. However, Uncle Tian Lin might only make a phone call. It's not convenient for him to come over right now. Lin Yi said. I understand. It's already good enough that I was able to make a phone call. The old dean, on the other hand, appeared very calm and not very agitated. After so many years, it was clear that she had already gotten over it. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. After all, this was someone else's family matter. After breakfast, Lin Yi, Su Shihan, and Cheng Yi said goodbye to the dean and the others, returning to Donghai City. When they got home, Cheng Yi dragged Su Shihan upstairs to talk about business. Yushu and Han Jingjing, on the other hand, sat on the sofa and chatted. Seeing that Lin Yi came back, Yushu pulled Lin Yi and asked him about the interesting things in Songshan. Lin Yi roughly told them about the Grand Elder of the Black Horse Gang and the Bloodcloak Yellow Spring sect. Lin Yi didn't need to hide anything from Yushu and Jingjing. It was a shocking story, and it made Yushu and Jingjing feel lucky. After that, Yushu went to watch TV. Han Jingjing, on the other hand, went to talk to Lin Yi about the second-level automatic cauldron. Lin Yi bro, Jingjing's research on the second-level automatic cauldron is almost done. The only problem now is that only a second-level refiner can use it. Han Jingjing said as she took out a cauldron from Lin Yi's cabinet. Han Jingjing took advantage of Lin Yi's absence to take over Lin Yi's room and started researching the cauldron, waiting for Lin Yi to come back. Oh. Isn't a second-level automatic cauldron for a second-level refiner? Could it be for a first-level refiner to use? This doesn't match. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing with some doubts. He didn't understand what she meant. No, Lin Yi bro, in fact, you have to know that our first-level automatic cauldron is so popular because of its low threshold. As long as you can condense the alchemy fire, you can use it with the automatic cauldron to refine a first-level medicinal pill. However, the second-level automatic cauldron is different. The person who uses it is a second-level refiner, and the threshold to become a second-level refiner is much higher than condensing the alchemy fire. Han Jingjing said, it's impossible to become a second-level refiner if you can only condense the alchemy fire. Han Jingjing said, it is impossible to become a second-grade alchemist if you can only condense alchemy fire. Second-grade alchemists are cultivators of fire and with dual attributes, and most of these people's alchemy level is not low. Although it can be said that they have a 100% success rate, but their dependence on the second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron is certainly not as big as the first-grade automatic medicinal cauldron, and there is a crucial problem. That is, the number of second-grade alchemists is limited. There are only so many. After we sell our medicinal cauldron to them, it is impossible to have sales again. unless the medicinal cauldron in their hands is broken. This is true. After listening, Lin Yi suddenly realized that what Han Jingjing said was not unreasonable. Under the cute and quiet appearance, Lu Jinghan was a business genius. She had analyzed all these things. Lin Yi was not good at business, so naturally, he didn't think as much as Han Jingjing. So, if our second-level automatic cauldron can be given to the first-level alchemist, even ordinary cultivators can use it, there will definitely be a surge in sales. Han Jingjing said. The theory is reasonable, but I'm afraid it will be difficult to realize. Lin Yi shook his head and said, not everyone is like Han Jingjing. You mean, let those who condense the alchemy fire cultivate to the second-level alchemy fire and then use this cauldron? This is a good idea. Han Jingjing's eyes lit up. Lin Yi bro is more thoughtful than Jing Jing. It is not difficult to let them cultivate, and there is no requirement for the success rate of alchemy. As long as they can condense the second-level alchemy fire, it is enough. Jing Jing. You say that, I am a little ashamed. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and said, if I didn't know that you are Lu Jinghan, I would really think that you are praising me with your character, but you are Lu Jinghan. How can I think of it, and you don't? Chapter 3240. Lin Yi was taken aback by Han Jingjing's seriousness, but he still nodded. Maybe I'm thinking from the perspective of a practitioner, and you're thinking from the perspective of a businessman, so we're thinking from different perspectives. Yeah, if that's the case, we can throw in a guidebook on how to condense a second-level fire. As long as the alchemists who can condense a first-level fire increase their fire level, they'll be able to use a second-level cauldron. Han Jingjing nodded. Then, Lin Yi was about to say that they'll follow this train of thought, but before he could finish his sentence, his phone rang. It was Kong Xiaobo. Lin Yi gestured to Han Jingjing to wait, and picked up the phone. Xiaobo, what's up? Boss, Little Peach brought me an important message. The Sky Elixir sect is preparing to mass-produce first-level cauldrons. Xiaobo said. The Sky Elixir sect's first-level automatic cauldrons aren't cheap right now, and Miracle Dr. Guan's cauldrons can be lowered at any time. Kong Xiaoming's worried that we won't be able to beat them in the next step, so he's planning to use a price war to beat them. That's why he's planning to mass-produce them to lower the cost. Oh. Lin Yi was startled. He didn't expect Kong Mingming to be so smart. However, this intelligence wasn't used in the right place. Lin Yi was prepared to give up on the first-level cauldron market. After all, the market would soon be saturated. Even if new alchemists and disciples bought them, there wouldn't be too many. Mass production like Kong Mingming would indeed stimulate sales. After all, the price was cheaper, and some sects would buy a few to save for a rainy day. However, it was almost impossible to sell them all at once. There needed to be a long digestion process. Xiaobo, how about this? Let Little Peach spread the news that our cauldrons are indeed going to be discounted. Lin Yi said after some thought. Last time, Xiaoming had used Lu Tianli as a hostage and made a fool out of him. It pissed Lin Yi off, but because of Han Jingjing, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore Lu Tianli. He could only suffer in silence. But now that Xiaoming had sent himself to his doorstep, Lin Yi would make him suffer in silence. The Sky Elixir sect had made a lot of money from the first-level cauldrons, and it wasn't any less than Lin Yi. After all, Kong Mingming's cauldrons were updated very quickly. This kind of fake price and service would naturally be very popular, taking up half of the market. However, Lin Yi was going to make him lose as much as he earned. I got it. Kong Xiaobo didn't ask why and just nodded. He was ready to carry out Lin Yi's plan. After all, the cauldrons weren't sold through the medical company's channels. Kong Xiaobo didn't need to ask too much. After hanging up the call with Kong Xiaobo, Lin Yi turned to Han Jingjing and said, "Don't develop any smart functions for the second-level cauldrons. It will be the same as the first-level cauldrons. Only a second-level alchemist who can control the temperature of the cauldron will work. The automatic version will be delayed for now." "Ah. Okay." Han Jingjing paused and nodded. She immediately understood what Lin Yi meant. Lin Yi Gich doesn't want the second-level cauldron to affect the sales of the first-level cauldrons, right? That's right. If those alchemists who can activate the first-level alchemy fire can refine the second-level elixir after a little practice, then who would refine this kind of first-level elixir with poor effects? Lin Yi nodded and said, "After the second-level cauldron is launched, sell the first-level cauldron at a discount. Don't worry about the sales of the second-level cauldron for the time being. Adopt the strategy of starvation sales. Only sell them at the auction and not in the company." "Okay." Han Jingjing completely listened to Lin Yi's arrangement. In this way, Kong Mingming won't be on guard against the second-level cauldron. He will think that it's not easy for us to make it. Moreover, the sales will be low and the demand will be high. This will also give him enough time to spend a lot of money to research the second-level cauldron. Then, when he is almost done, we will directly replace it. That's right. Directly replace the chip circuit board inside and let him crack it for nothing. Lin Yi said. "Okay, Jing Jing understands." Han Jingjing replied. In the following days, Han Jingjing returned to Yanjing City under the identity of Lu Jinghan. She began to busy herself with the matters related to the second-level cauldron's launch. Lin Yi also welcomed the first final exam of his university days. However, Lin Yi was a person who Boss Bai specially approved to not participate in the final exam. This made Bai Weitua and the others very envious. However, Lin Yi still participated in the exam. It was just that he hadn't seen Wang Xinyan for a long time. He wanted to take the opportunity of the final exam to see her. To be honest, it had been a while since they separated. Lin Yi still missed Wang Xinyan. After all, they slept on the same bed for so many days and nights. Lin Yi also had a lot of feelings for Wang Xinyan. However, Lin Yi didn't have any reason to let Wang Xinyan go to his villa now. At the entrance of the exam hall, Lin Yi just happened to see Tiger Wright and Zhao Long walking over together. The two also saw Lin Yi, and their eyes were a little evasive. After all, Lin Yi was now famous in the ancient world. With the level of the hidden house Yu, they weren't a match for Lin Yi at all. However, since he saw him, he couldn't not greet him. Tiger Wright knew that he might not be able to shake Lin Yi in this lifetime. Not to mention him, even Xiaolong's big brother, Kong Mingming, had a headache when he saw Lin Yi. What else could he do? He could just act like a grandson. "Aw, isn't this boss Lin Yi? It's been a long time, I've missed you." Right Coiling Tiger greeted him with a smile on his face. "Oh, Tiger Right, what are you looking for me for? Don't tell me you have something good for me again." Lin Yi's heart moved slightly, and he thought of an idea. "Aw. Good stuff. I don't have anything that's good enough for you, boss Lin Yi." Tiger Right felt a chill in his heart. Could it be that he had shown off too much before? And now that Lin Yi was strong, he came to take advantage of him. Chapter 32-41. Lin Yi looked at the Right Coiling Tiger's flickering eyes. How could he not guess what he was thinking? In fact, Lin Yi really didn't want to put the Right family to death. After all, the Right family had some relationship with the Heavenly Elixir sect's young master, Silkworm Change, and Silkworm Change was a person that Lin Yi respected and was grateful to. Therefore, Lin Yi didn't want Silkworm Change to be in a difficult position. Therefore, even though Lin Yi knew that the hidden Wright family had a third-grade medicine cauldron, he didn't snatch it. This was a matter of his principles. Right, Coiling Tiger, I heard that your family has a lot of medicine cauldrons. Lin Yi narrowed his eyes and asked. Ah. There's only one third-grade medicine cauldron. Right, Coiling Tiger was shocked and said subconsciously. I didn't ask you about third-grade medicine cauldrons. Are there a lot of second-grade ones? Asked Lin Yi. Second grade, there are indeed a lot of them. Right, Coiling Tiger was relieved. Although he didn't know what Lin Yi meant, it was fine as long as Lin Yi didn't want a third-grade medicine cauldron. Second-grade medicine cauldron didn't matter. Although the cost wasn't low, it couldn't be compared to a third-grade medicine cauldron. How many? Asked Lin Yi. A few dozen. Boss Lin Yi, what do you want? Right, Coiling Tiger was somewhat inexplicable. He didn't know why Lin Yi cared about the number of second-grade medicine cauldrons. Oh, sell them all to me, said Lin Yi. Sell them to you. Why do you want to buy second-grade medicine cauldrons? Right, Coiling Tiger was even more puzzled. Why did Lin Yi buy so many second-grade medicine cauldrons? I say, Boss Lin Yi, if you need one or two, I can give them to you. There's no use for you to buy so many second-grade medicine cauldrons. These things aren't easy to break, right? Why are you talking so much nonsense? Are you selling or not? Just say it. Asked Lin Yi with a frown. Right, Coiling Tiger saw Lin Yi frown and thought to himself, not good. Is this guy angry? Thinking of this, Right, Coiling Tiger could only say, sell it, why wouldn't I sell it? This thing is not a rare resource. In fact, the Heavenly Elixir sect also consigns a lot of second-grade cauldrons to the Cultivators Trade Association. They sell them for 50 million each. Just give me 30 million each. Speaking of this, Yupanhu looked at Lin Yi carefully. After all, 30 million was indeed a capital. The Yu family bought it from the Heavenly Elixir sect at this price. Yupanhu really didn't dare to ask for an exorbitant price from Lin Yi. However, if he didn't ask, he was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't even give him 30 million. In fact, if Lin Yi didn't pay, he could only accept it. Who dared to provoke Lin Yi? 30 million. Okay, how much? Lin Yi didn't bargain with him. After all, 30 million was considered cheap compared to the price of Lin Yi's second-grade cauldrons. Around 30. Boss Lin Yi, why don't you give me 1 billion and I'll give all of them to you? Maybe 35 or 36. Right, Coiling Tiger saw that Lin Yi didn't bargain and breathed a sigh of relief. He took the initiative to give some to Lin Yi. Okay, Lin Yi nodded and said, tell my family that I'll send Wu Qintian to get it now. Oh, okay, Right, Coiling Tiger nodded and quickly went to call his family. Zhao Long, on the other hand, stood at the side and didn't say a word. He frowned slightly. What was the use of Lin Yi buying so many second-grade cauldrons? From Zhaolong's point of view, Lin Yi didn't buy these cauldrons for his own use. Lin Yi didn't need so many cauldrons. If it wasn't for his own use, was he going to sell them? But this market had always been controlled by the Sky Elixir sect, and Lin Yi just bought them and then sold them. What profit was there to speak of? Could it be that it had something to do with first-grade cauldrons? Was it used to develop second-grade cauldrons? Only research could use up so many cauldrons. Otherwise, they wouldn't break if they were just used for elixirs. Zhao Long had to admit that Zhao Long was quite smart. He could guess the general direction, but he didn't know that Lin Yi was using these cauldrons to make the first batch of second-grade cauldrons. Zhao Long had fallen into a misconception. He thought that Lin Yi could use other materials to replace first-grade cauldrons, but it didn't mean that he couldn't use other materials to replace second-grade cauldrons. Lin Yi bought these 30 or so cauldrons to experiment, to find a replacement. After all, if Lin Yi wanted to mass produce, how could 30 or so cauldrons be enough? Once Lin Yi produced the cauldrons, the raw materials would be stuck in the hands of the Sky Elixir sect. If the Sky Elixir sect stopped producing second-grade cauldrons, then Lin Yi's first-grade cauldrons would have to stop production as well. If that happened, then Lin Yi would have to share some of the profits with the Sky Elixir sect. Otherwise, the Sky Elixir sect might as well fight to the death. This way, the Sky Elixir sect wouldn't have to waste their energy trying to replicate the cauldrons. They could just ask Lin Yi for a share of the profits. However, Xiaolong would still tell Kong Ming about this and have him prepare the necessary measures. Xiaolong, why are you still here? Lin Yi looked at Xiaolong and asked faintly, didn't you say that you weren't coming? You guys have final exams, and I have to hand in my final paper. Of course, I have to come to Boss Bai's class. Xiaolong said unnaturally. Actually, he saw that Lin Yi wasn't coming to school recently, so he thought that he could take advantage of this opportunity to chase after Wang Xinyan. At first, he thought that Lin Yi wouldn't be happy if he found out, but with Kong Ming, the elder of the Sky Elixir sect, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to kill him even if he was unhappy. But recently, there were rumors that Lin Yi could not only kill Sky Class Masters at the peak of the late phase, but he could even kill Sky Class Masters at the peak of the late phase. His strength had reached an unimaginable level. Oh, I hope you're not here to harass my girlfriend, Lin Yi looked at Xiaolong and said faintly. That. Of course not. Xiaolong's face turned green from anger at Lin Yi's words. What do you mean your girlfriend? She's my fiancée, alright. But Xiaolong didn't dare to refute. He could only swallow his anger and say, then. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. Goodbye. Lin Yi turned and entered the classroom. Xiaolong was here to find Wang Xinyan, but Lin Yi was here, so he turned and left. He also had to report to Kong Ming. Lin Yi sent a text to Wu Qintian, asking him to take 1 billion from Han Jingjing to buy a second-level cauldron from the hidden house Yu. Lin Yi also sent a text to Han Jingjing, saying that the first batch of second-level cauldrons would be made from real cauldrons. Han Jingjing listened to Lin Yi's suggestion and naturally agreed. This way, when the second-level cauldrons hit the market, they could make Kong Ming of the Sky Elixir sect lower his guard and trick him into thinking that he was going to supply Lin Yi with another batch of second-level cauldrons that couldn't be sold. Chapter 32-42. Although Qintian was from the common house Wu, the hidden house Yu didn't dare offend him or lie to him. The second-grade cauldrons they gave him were all real. After all, Qintian's identity in House Wu wasn't anything special, but he was Lin Yi's follower. Who would dare offend someone related to Lin Yi now? Lin Yi had killed a Sky-class late-phase peak full mastery for a person he was protecting. Couldn't he do the same for his follower Wu Qintian? There was a precedent, too. Didn't the common house Yu and the hidden house Xiao fall just like that? When the hidden house Yu handed over the second-grade cauldrons to Qintian, Xiaolong called Kong Ming. Brother. What's up? Ever since Kong Ming became the son-in-law of the elder of Xianqin, his vision had broadened and he wouldn't fight with Xiaolong for the head of the house. The relationship between the two brothers had improved quite a bit. Now, both of them were working for the benefit of House Kong. Xiao Ming, I met Lin Yi in school, Xiaolong said directly. Lin Yi went to school. What did he do? Kong Ming was very sensitive to the name Lin Yi. He asked immediately when he heard Lin Yi's name. I think he went for the final exam, but he revealed something important. He bought more than 30 second-grade cauldrons from Yu Coiling Tiger. Xiaolong said. Bought second-grade cauldrons from Yu Coiling Tiger? Why does he need so many second-grade cauldrons? Kong Mingming didn't know how to react. I'm not too sure, but according to my guess, maybe Lin Yi started working on second-grade automatic cauldrons. Why else would he buy so many second-grade cauldrons? There's no need for so many cauldrons to make pills. These things don't break easily, Xiaolong analyzed. Brother, you're right. Kong Mingming was enlightened by Xiaolong's words. If you didn't remind me, I'd still be guessing for a while. Does that mean that Lin Yi has started researching second-level automatic cauldrons? It's possible. After all, with the competition from your heavenly elixir sect, their profits will only get smaller and smaller. If they don't develop new products, how can they maintain their market superiority? Xiaolong said. And I'm guessing that they've basically run out of resources to upgrade and encrypt first-grade cauldrons. There won't be any new breakthroughs, so they're probably planning to give up on this market. After a while, maybe they'll start a promotion. High-price promotion. I've thought about it. Plus, I got news from my spy today that Lin Yi is planning on lowering his prices for first-grade automatic cauldrons. But if he has a plan, I have a plan. I've already started mass-producing first-grade automatic cauldrons. Kong Mingming laughed. Don't worry, bro. I'll destroy Lin Yi's company. Let's see if he still has the heart to steal your girl. Oh. I'll be counting on you then. Xiaolong let out a breath of relief when he heard that Kong Mingming already had a plan. Lin Yi entered the classroom to see Wang Xinyan sitting at her familiar desk, reading a book. The exam was right around the corner, and Xinyan wasn't trying to cram for it. She was a girl who liked to read, after all. Usually, other than chatting with Lin Yi and Han Jingjing, she'd be reading alone in her seat. Lin Yi walked over and sat beside Xinyan. Xinyan frowned slightly when she felt someone sitting beside her. She didn't look over, her eyes still on her book. Lin Yi smiled faintly. It seemed like Xiaolong had been harassing Xinyan quite a bit lately, but Xinyan didn't pay attention to him at all. Xinyan clearly thought of him as Xiaolong now. Xinyan, how have you been? Lin Yi asked. Ah. Xinyan's body shook as she turned her head, her eyes filled with shock and joy. She hadn't expected Lin Yi to appear in school all of a sudden. To tell the truth, Xinyan had been missing Lin Yi a lot lately. She'd been able to get some news about Lin Yi from Han Jingjing when she still came to school, but Han Jingjing hadn't been coming to school recently, and Xinyan had lost her source of information. She wanted to give Lin Yi a call or go to Lin Yi's house, but she couldn't muster up the courage. After all, she couldn't help Lin Yi now. Xinyan didn't know if she could still be with Lin Yi in the future. She couldn't help Lin Yi with his training, and she felt guilty. She helped Lin Yi a little, but Lin Yi had to go to Snowy Valley to beg for treasures for her. She almost let Tang Yun down. She felt sorry for Lin Yi, and so she didn't contact Lin Yi recently. At first, Xinyan thought that he'd forgotten about her. As time went on, even the most intimate of two people would become estranged from each other. That little bit of warmth and tenderness in her memories would become a beautiful memory. But Lin Yi was there, sitting next to her just like how he used to do every day in school. At that moment, Xinyan had the illusion that Lin Yi had never disappeared in the first place. It was as if the last time he'd sat here was yesterday. Kong Xiaolong has been bothering you lately, right? Lin Yi said apologetically. I've been too busy recently, and I didn't come to school. I chased him away at the gate just now. Not really. I've been ignoring him. Xinyan explained subconsciously. I know. Lin Yi nodded. Don't bother with him next time. Just chase him away when he comes. I told him that you're my girlfriend, and he didn't say anything. Ah. Xinyan blushed. She couldn't believe it. He's scared of you now. Yeah. Even the ancients are scared of me now. Lin Yi wasn't too happy about it. He sighed. At least they won't do anything to you right now, and they won't force you. But I don't know how long this will last. What do you mean? Xinyan blinked, not understanding what Lin Yi meant. Lin Yi didn't hide anything, and told Xinyan everything that had happened recently. Lin Yi came early, and there was no one in the classroom yet. He wasn't worried about eavesdropping. Chapter 32-43. But Xinyan was a little jealous that two big stars were living in Lin Yi's house. She didn't think much of it when Meng Yao and Shu were there, but two other women moving in all of a sudden. Xinyan didn't feel comfortable at all. But she didn't say anything. She knew that Lin Yi was a loyal person, and Feng Shipian was his follower. Lin Yi couldn't reject him when he asked to protect Su Shihan. But Xinyan wasn't a scheming girl. She said impulsively, "Why don't I move back as well?" Ah. This time, it was Lin Yi's turn to be startled. He didn't think that Xinyan would make such a request. To tell the truth, Lin Yi approved of Xinyan going back. After all, they were used to living here. Xinyan, Yao Yao, and Shu got along well. Now, although Su Shihan and Qing Yi were at home, they were still a bit lacking compared to Shu. Su Shihan and Qing Yi were in the same room, and Yushu was alone in the room. She would be lonely, and Lin Yi thought that Shu would be quite happy if Xinyan went back. What I mean is, aren't you Earth class early phase peak? If I help you, will you be able to break through to Earth class mid phase in a short amount of time? If you reach Earth class mid phase, you might be able to kill Sky class late phase peak in one hit. At that time, you won't have to worry. Xinyan quickly explained. Actually, that was what she was thinking. That won't do. You know your body's condition. Right now, you're relying on the jade grass to maintain your body, but if I absorb more of your energy, your life will be in danger. Lin Yi shook his head decisively. It's good for you to come back and accompany Shu. Otherwise, Yao Yao will be very lonely after leaving. Man, you're right. I didn't think that Yao Yao was an inheritor as well. She left just like that. Xinyan was emotional. She didn't think that Yao Yao would leave the villa in the blink of an eye. Xinyan didn't say anything after hearing Lin Yi's rejection. After all, she couldn't change Lin Yi's decision. Xinyan wanted to help Lin Yi, but she didn't want to cause trouble for Lin Yi. If her life was in danger, Lin Yi would do anything to help her. That wasn't what Xinyan wanted. Then come back with me tonight. Lin Yi smiled. This time, Xiaolong won't come to your house anymore. Ha! Xinyan smiled happily as well. The exam questions were easy for Lin Yi. Lin Yi had the right to be exempted, but he was just accompanying Xinyan. Lin Yi's appearance pleased Boss Bai as well. Lin Yi had his privileges, but as a disciple, he had to follow the rules. Boss Bai was happy to see that. But what Lin Yi didn't expect was that on the second day after Xinyan moved into the villa, Lin Yi received a call from Yang Qiqi. Bai Weitua walked over after the exam, excited to see Lin Yi. I say, Lin bro, where have you been all this time? I haven't seen you around, and my grandpa won't tell me. Bai Weitua asked curiously. It's nothing. There's a guest here, and I've been busy with her stuff. Lin Yi said. I see. Bai Weitua nodded. What are you planning to do this holiday? Meiwe and I are planning to go sight. Are you coming? Meiwe was the one who suggested that Bai Weitua come to Lin Yi. According to Bai Weitua's thinking, Lin Yi must be very busy, and Lin Yi might not have the time. But Bai Weitua said that they were brothers, and it'd be more fun with more people. So, Bai Weituo decided to give it a try. Oh. Where are you guys going then? Lin Yi was pressed for time, but Bai Weituo was one of his best friends back in university, especially the grandson of Professor Bai. Lin Yi had a good relationship with him, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to go out with him if possible. We're planning to go to Southeast Asia. It's warmer there. Bai Weituo said. He Mayue said that we're not familiar with that place, and it'd be more interesting if we had a few friends. If you're free, would you like to go too? Wang Xinyan blushed and turned to look at Lin Yi, but her eyes were filled with anticipation. Perhaps she wanted to go with Lin Yi. Let me check the time. Lin Yi knew that Su Shihan might not be in danger for the time being, but the orphanage's matter still made Lin Yi cautious. Who knew if Feng Tianhu would go crazy and find someone to deal with Su Shihan or the dean? Okay, if you want to go together, give me a call. Bai Weituo knew that Lin Yi was busy, so he didn't force it. Lin Yi said goodbye to Bai Weituo and returned to the villa with Wang Xinyan. Wang Xinyan was a little shy when she arrived at the familiar entrance. She knew that she would see Shu when she entered the door, but what should she say when Shu asked her why she came back? Could she say that she missed Lin Yi and wanted to sleep with Lin Yi? That would be too embarrassing, and Wang Xinyan couldn't say it. Oh, Xinyan sis, you're back. Yushu didn't know if she saw Wang Xinyan from the room or heard the car, but she ran out of the villa and said excitedly. Wang Xinyan was a little shy and awkward at first, but Yushu's words helped her out. Wang Xinyan suddenly felt like she had returned home. Shu, I'm so happy to see you. My body wasn't very good recently, so I didn't come back. I only found out today that Yao Yao had left. I felt bad that I couldn't send her off, Wang Xinyan sighed and said quietly. Meng Yao was still here the last time she came. There's no other way. Everyone has their own mission. Maybe Shu will leave one day, and then Shield Bro will be taken care of by Xinyan sis, Yushu smiled. Because Yushu said it with a smile, Wang Xinyan didn't think that Yushu was telling the truth. She thought that Yushu was joking, and her face turned red. Shu, don't make fun of me. Chapter 32-44. In actuality, Yushu was feeling the same way. Meng Yao was gone, and Lin Yi knew her secret. Sometimes, she would drop her dumb facade. When she was alone with Lin Yi, she wouldn't make a fuss. She would read quietly in her room or watch TV in the living room, and she wouldn't do anything stupid. She didn't need to do it for Lin Yi to see, and she didn't need to hide her loneliness and confusion in front of Lin Yi. Meng Yao was gone, and she might have to leave as well. She didn't know what her life would be like in the future. She didn't know if she would have a chance to live after this Heaven Stage Island plan. Would she have a chance to be with Lin Yi, Meng Yao, Xiao Xiao, and Tang Yun again? Yushu didn't have a shred of confidence. Sometimes, the prophecy didn't work, the roulette of fate wasn't in her hands. Even Shield Bro, who she had high hopes for, was only a small part of this grand plan. The Heaven Stage Island project, the gathering and getting to know each other before the inheritance, seemed to be a very big game of chess. Yushu didn't know who the players behind this chess game were. Perhaps she and Lin Yi were both pawns, or perhaps Lin Yi was the pawn that could turn the tides of the game. Everything was unknown. Yushu couldn't be happy every time she thought about it. That moment was near. Wang Xinyan moved into the villa smoothly. Shihan had heard about Wang Xinyan from Yushu before, and she knew that Wang Xinyan was Lin Yi's girlfriend. She didn't have much of an intention to fight for Wang Xinyan. Shihan did have feelings for Wang Xinyan, but she didn't dare do anything disrespectful in front of Wang Xinyan. She could tell that Lin Yi cared a lot about Wang Xinyan, but she didn't know why. At night, Wang Xinyan went upstairs to sleep with Shu. Lin Yi wanted to hug Xinyan to sleep as well, since she was the only girl he was close to, but Lin Yi was afraid that he'd accidentally suck Xinyan's energy away during his training, so he gave up. But what Lin Yi didn't expect was that the second day after Xinyan moved into the villa, Lin Yi got a call from Yang Chi-Chi. "Lin Yi bro, I've asked around for you, there's a blue crystal being auctioned at Kristen's auction house on the 20th of this month, I've already gotten the rights to it. When are you coming over?" Chi-Chi and Lin Yi were much closer now that they'd gotten to know each other. Before, young Chi-Chi had helped Lin Yi look for the blue crystal's whereabouts purely out of gratitude, but now it was her own business. She called Lin Yi the first thing she heard. "There's news of his whereabouts? That's great." Lin Yi had always been concerned about crafting the jade space. Other than practicing, he could only focus on crafting. He didn't know how to concoct pills, and he didn't know how to do mending either. He'd just focus on crafting the jade space. Plus, the space was a little small right now. Lin Yi was pretty much done with the valuables he'd brought with him, and he didn't have enough space for the small stuff. Lin Yi had to leave some space to maneuver in case of emergencies, right? "And, when are you coming over?" Chi-Chi's words were filled with tenderness towards Lin Yi. The girl who used to grit her teeth at the mention of Lin Yi was gone. "The 20th, a few more days." "I'll go as soon as I can," Lin Yi said. "Right, I heard you're working as a bodyguard for a celebrity." Lil Ajo said that she's arranged for an entertainment company to invite her over to discuss a movie. Chi-Chi said. "Aw. A movie?" Lin Yi blinked. Su Shihan had always been in the music industry, and although she was a heavenly queen, she didn't have much in the film industry. This was because the ancient House Feng's influence was limited, and there weren't many people who could handle this. So, Shihan had always been restricted in the music industry. Yeah, this company's special effects and professional post-production are done by Lil Ajo's disciples. They have a lot of things to ask of Lil Ajo, so the chairman of the company happily agreed to this request. With that, Chi-Chi said the name of a famous company. Lin Yi was a little surprised, but it made sense after thinking about it. This kind of entertainment company needed special effects and post-production. They needed to be unique, and they needed to hire professionals or outsource the work. After all, everyone had their own specialties. A company might be good at making movies, but the post-production might not be as good as these professional companies. That's good news. With this company supporting Shihan, her acting career can take another step forward. Lin Yi nodded. Chi-Chi, on the other hand, didn't really mind the unknown stars. She didn't really care how many women Lin Yi had around him. This had to do with the environment she grew up in. Her father had a few wives, and one of them was a celebrity. Chi-Chi didn't really care, as long as Lin Yi was her AE bro, that was enough. After putting down the phone, Lin Yi gathered everyone in the living room. Lin Yi was going out, and naturally, he had to tell Shu and Xinyan. "Lin Yi. You're going to Europe." Xinyan was a little disappointed after hearing Lin Yi's words. It seemed that the plan to go to Southeast Asia with Lin Yi was ruined. Lin Yi definitely couldn't go. "Yeah, Xinyan, why don't you go with Shu?" Lin Yi suggested. Xinyan was a little tempted, and she turned to Yushu with anticipation. Yushu wanted to go as well, but she couldn't. Yui had sent a message that the day of the plan was getting closer and closer. The people behind Yui had been talking frequently recently, and Yushu might have to leave soon. "I'm not going, Xinyan sis, you and Shield bro go have fun. Don't worry about me. I'll stay at home. Maybe Yao Yao sis will come back." Yushu found an excuse for herself. "Aw. You're not going." Xinyan was a little disappointed. If Yushu wasn't going, then she couldn't go. Then I'll stay at home with you. Lin Yi, why don't you go with Han? Chapter 32:45. Su Shihan, on the other hand, was confused. She didn't know if she should stay in the entertainment industry. She had found her mother, and her goal of becoming a superstar was achieved. These days, she had lost her goal in life. Lin Yi. I don't know what to do in the future. The reason I became a superstar was to find my mother. Now that my mother has been found, is there any meaning for me to continue being a superstar? Su Shihan hesitated for a long time and finally said what was in her heart. Xiao Han, I understand your feelings. Lin Yi wasn't surprised. He smiled and said, actually, everyone has a goal when they do something. For example, I came to Songshan to protect Yao Yao. But later, I was no longer Yao Yao's bodyguard, but we became good friends. Until now, she is my girlfriend. What I do has exceeded the scope of work. It has become a kind of life. And you should be the same. Although you have achieved your goal of becoming a superstar, think about it. If you don't become a superstar, what will you do? You can't stay at home every day, right? Su Shihan heard Lin Yi's words and was stunned. She nodded. Yeah, if she didn't become a superstar, what would she do? Actually, you still have a goal in life. Your goal is to work hard to earn more money. Lin Yi smiled and said, your mother put all her energy into developing the orphanage. Of course, this is one of the reasons why she looked for you in the beginning. But now, she has fallen in love with this career. Her orphanage needs money. If you can help her, I believe the old dean will be very happy, right? Yeah. Su Shihan heard Lin Yi's words and her eyes lit up. She never thought about these things before. Now that she thought about it, it was true. Her mother needed a lot of money, and the more prosperous her career was, the more money she could earn. At this moment, Su Shihan found her goal in life again. She couldn't help but feel grateful to Lin Yi. Thank you, Lin Yi. You are really a benefactor in my life. I am very happy to meet you. With you by my side, I feel very happy. Shihan's confession was very subtle, but everyone understood. Lin Yi wasn't surprised. He looked at Wang Xinyan, then at Shu, and sighed in relief when he didn't see any special expression on their faces. It seemed that Shu had a lot on her mind, and wouldn't reject anyone like she used to. Xinyan, on the other hand, had always been a quiet person. Even if she had something to say, she wouldn't say it aloud. She just accepted silently. The only time she resisted was with Zhao Long. So even a girl with a good personality could have a rebellious moment. Then get ready. We'll leave for Europe in a few days. Lin Yi nodded, and then he gazed at Qing Yi and said, Yi, you can come with me. I can help you open up the overseas market, but you must give me half of your earnings as compensation. Lin Yi knew that Qing Yi worked for Feng Tianhu. Her income was taken by Feng Tianhu, so he didn't hesitate to ask for half of her income. Let me think about it. Qing Yi naturally knew that Lin Yi was taking money from her to subsidize the orphanage. Of course, she agreed in her heart, but she was afraid that Feng Tianhu wouldn't agree. Giving money to Lin Yi was better than giving it to Feng Tianhu. She needed to communicate with Feng Tianhu first. Shihan was stunned. She didn't think that Lin Yi would extort money from Qing Yi. She and Qing Yi were good sisters, and she didn't really care what Qing Yi used the money for. She just felt that Lin Yi asking for half of her income was a bit too much. However, she couldn't say anything. After all, Lin Yi had his own considerations, and without Lin Yi's help, they couldn't open up the overseas market by themselves. After Qing Yi returned to her room, she dialed Feng Tianhu's number. Is there any news? Feng Tianhu quickly picked up the phone and asked. It's like this, Lin Yi is going to Europe. Lin Yi is going to meet a friend, and his friend has a lot of power over there. He can convince XXX Entertainment Company to cooperate with Su Shihan, and let Su Shihan be the main character and make Su Shihan famous, Cheng Yi said. TSK, this smelly bitch is so lucky. She can rely on such a big backer even though she's a bitch. Feng Tianhu was jealous and cursed. He knew what kind of company XXX Entertainment Company was. It was a super money-making kingdom. If they really supported Su Shihan, then it would only be a matter of time before Shihan became famous. At the same time, Feng Tianhu was a bit shocked. Was Lin Yi really a normal solo cultivator? How could he have so much power overseas? To be able to affect the decisions of such a big company, he must not be a normal person. Thinking up to here, Feng Tianhu was a bit unsatisfied. He asked the Black Horse Society to do something, but not only did it not work, he also wasted a large amount of deposit. He needed money right now, so he said to Cheng Yi, didn't you also do it with Lin Yi? He didn't give you any benefits? Or are you not as good as that bitch Su Shihan? The time I spent with Lin Yi was too short, but with my hard work, Lin Yi also said that he can let the other party support me, but he wants to take 50% of the income as a reward, Cheng Yi said. 50%, it's a bit much, but it's not bad that you can get this. Not bad, Cheng Yi, it seems that you didn't let Lin Yi do it for nothing, you have some ability. Feng Tianhu was instantly happy. This 50% was also for free. If Lin Yi didn't support Cheng Yi, she wouldn't even be able to cooperate with that company. She didn't even get 50%, so Feng Tianhu was very happy about the extra income. Listening to Feng Tianhu's vulgar words, Cheng Yi frowned slightly and sighed in her heart. It would be good if Lin Yi really did it, but then should I agree to it? Cheng Yi asked. Of course, why wouldn't you agree? Hurry up and agree. If there's anything good in the future, you can make the decision yourself. If you always come back to discuss with me, Lin Yi will be suspicious, Feng Tianhu said. Okay, I understand, Cheng Yi nodded. Chapter 32-46. 3 days later, Lin Yi brought Su Shihan and Cheng Yi to a place in Europe called Butterfly Town. Lin Yi spent a part of his childhood here. Stepping on this land again, Lin Yi was filled with emotions. The plane slowly landed in the city closest to Butterfly Town. This city was also the city where the auction house was located, Christian City. In fact, Christian City was very far from Butterfly Town. The most convenient way to get to Butterfly Town was by water, but it was slower, and Su Shihan and Cheng Yi might not be able to adapt to the life on a boat. So, Lin Yi bought the plane ticket to Christian City directly. Of course, the auction would be held here. Butterfly Town was the place Lin Yi planned to go to after the auction. Su Shihan and Cheng Yi would be discussing business cooperation at that time, and Lin Yi could follow Yang Qiqi back to Butterfly Town to have a look. As soon as they got out of the airport, Lin Yi saw Yang Qiqi's cool little black silhouette. She was standing at the arrival gate, looking over anxiously. Seeing Lin Yi, she ran over happily, Lin Yi big bro. With that, she gave Lin Yi a hug. She hugged Lin Yi like an octopus, not letting go. Yang Qiqi was a practitioner, and she didn't care much about how the outside world looked at her. Plus, she was sure that Lin Yi was her big bro, so it was natural for them to be intimate. After all, Lin Yi and Yang Qiqi had a lot of physical contact when they were young. It was nothing. Su Shihan and Cheng Yi had never met Yang Qiqi before, but they knew on the plane that Yang Qiqi was Lin Yi's childhood sweetheart, so they didn't have any hostility towards her. Shao Qi, we have friends here. You're hugging me like a tree bear. What about the others? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Young Chi-Chi listened to Lin Yi and jumped down from Lin Yi. She turned to Su Shihan and Qing Yi, embarrassed. You guys are Su Shihan and Qing Yi, right? Welcome, it's nice to meet you guys. I have an aunt who's also a celebrity, so I think we'll have a good time together. Young Chi-Chi clearly thought that Su Shihan and Qing Yi were Lin Yi's women. Otherwise, why would Lin Yi protect them and help them arrange the show? Su Shihan and Qing Yi were a little surprised, and a little shy. Chi-Chi's words made two things clear. One was that her father seemed to have multiple women, and she herself didn't mind the situation. Second, young Chi-Chi said that her aunt had a celebrity as well. She was treating them as Lin Yi's women. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he didn't explain. This kind of thing didn't need to be explained. Su Shihan had already expressed her feelings, and Qing Yi was naked. It was impossible to say that there was nothing between them. But Lin Yi hadn't given them a clear answer yet. Lin Yi's future was complicated. Although it looked like Lin Yi's enemies were hiding, it was all built on a lie. Once this lie was exposed, Lin Yi's good days would come to an end. So, Lin Yi couldn't promise Su Shihan anything. Alright, Chi-Chi, let's not talk about this for now. Have you booked the hotel? Lin Yi asked. Yeah, the best hotels in this city are Kristen Hotel and Douglas Hotel. Kristen Hotel and Kristen Auction are together. They're both part of the Overseas Practitioner Trading Association. Young Chi-Chi explained. Douglas Hotel, our family has shares in it. It's more convenient to stay there, but it's not good for getting information about the auction. Young Chi-Chi and Lin Yi talked about the pros and cons of the two. The young Chi-Chi right now was no longer that cool and silly girl. She was a smart girl, and Lin Yi was a little surprised. In actuality, young Chi-Chi had grown up a long time ago. It was only because of little Jiu that she had to participate in the trials and the marketplace again and again, becoming a punching bag. After all, her strength level was there, and in the world of practitioners, strength was everything. If you didn't have strength, no matter where you came from, people would look down on you. It was different in the common world. Young Chi-Chi had a lot of power here, and things like this were easy to handle. Just like Lin Yi, back when he was weak, no one in House Yu's auction would put him in their eyes. Normal noble houses could strut around in front of Lin Yi, but now, even the ancients would be scared of Lin Yi, wouldn't they? The Overseas Practitioners Association. Lin Yi frowned. He didn't think that Kristen Auction would be the Overseas Practitioners Association's business. The grudge between Lin Yi and the association was quite deep. He'd killed one of their elders, and while there was no news yet, it was likely that they'd put him on their blacklist. He just didn't know if the people at the auction would recognize him. But no matter what, Lin Yi had to be careful. He didn't want the association to know that he was here, and it'd affect the auction plan. That's right. Only the Overseas Cultivators Association has these rare and strange materials. Basically, they won't appear in other auctions. Young Chi-Chi said. The association has their own channels to get these things. This is their business in the common world. Lin Yi nodded. Yes, after all, training requires funds, and these businesses in the common world can make up for that. Young Chi-Chi said. How about this, Chi-Chi? Don't write my name when you sign up. You sign up under your own name. Lin Yi said after some thought. It'd be better if he didn't reveal his identity. It'd be troublesome if someone knew who he was. Oh. All right. Chi-Chi was a little confused, but she nodded anyway. It wasn't a big deal. She was just curious. Lin Yi bro, do you know about this association? Yeah, a little. Lin Yi waved his hand. Just keep it a secret. All right. Chi-Chi didn't ask any more. Chapter 32-47. Lin Yi had a room to himself, Su Shihan and Qing Yi shared a room, and young Chi-Chi booked a room at Kristen Hotel. She wanted to find out how many people were interested in the blue crystal. Lin Yi was determined to get it this time, and young Chi-Chi wanted to find out. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you'll win every battle. And so Lin Yi didn't ask her to stay, and let her go. After Lin Yi settled down, he brought Su Shihan and Qing Yi to the hotel for a quick meal before going back to their room to rest. Since there were people from the association here, Lin Yi didn't dare be careless. Before the auction started, he decided to explain things in simple terms. 3 days later, when the auction officially started, Lin Yi brought Su Shihan and Qing Yi out of the hotel. At this time, young Chi-Chi was already waiting in front of the hotel. Young Chi-Chi drove a business car, very low-key and unassuming. Evidently, she'd listened to Lin Yi's words to keep a low profile. Lin Yi brought Su Shihan and Qing Yi to the car, and young Chi-Chi started the car and headed to Kristen Auction House. In the car, there was only young Chi-Chi, no driver or assistant. Kristen Auction House was built very luxuriously, similar to House Yu's auction house. Young Chi-Chi's car was stopped at the entrance, but after young Chi-Chi showed them an invitation, the security at the entrance let her in. Young Chi-Chi parked the car in the underground parking lot of the auction house, and got out with Lin Yi. But at this time, a red sports car stopped near young Chi-Chi's car, and 2 young men got out of the car. One was Asian, and the other was European. Young Chi-Chi frowned when she saw the 2. But she knew that if she left without saying goodbye, these 2 would definitely suspect her. Young Chi-Chi wasn't too afraid of anything, but her family's power was much weaker than these 2 young men. Her real identity, after all, didn't mean much with her father's departure. 7th sis, you're here for the auction as well. The Asian man walked up to Chi-Chi quickly. However, his eyes were locked on Su Shihan's face. Obviously, he was shocked by Su Shihan's beauty. He Tianzu, young master he, I really didn't think that you'd be participating in an auction like this. Chi-Chi wasn't trying to start a conversation, she really was surprised. He Tianzu was the son of the Overseas Cultivators Association's president, He Luonan. The Overseas Cultivators Association was an organization established in the past decade. Its purpose was to bring these overseas cultivators together. Gathering together, they formed an organization similar to an ancient sect, and He Luan Dun was a peak late-stage heaven rank master. Next to He Tianzu was a young man of European descent. His name was Frio Christian, and he was the son of the vice president of the Overseas Cultivators Association, Elder Christian. As for why the businesses of the Overseas Cultivators Association were named after the vice president, the reason was simple. He Luo didn't like doing business, and Christian's family was originally a business family, so he used their name to do business. The effect would be better. Otherwise, as powerful as the Overseas Cultivators Association was, they wouldn't be able to go up against the local powers. They might as well use the connections of Christian's family to do this. Since He Tianzu was He Luonan's son, he could just take whatever he wanted from the auction. There was no need for him to participate in the auction. This was also the reason why Chi-Chi was confused. I couldn't get used to training in the association, so I came out for a stroll. Look, something good happened. 7th sis, aren't you going to introduce me to this beautiful lady? He Tianzu looked at Shihan, not bothering to hide the adoration in his eyes. Perhaps it was due to the influence of the overseas culture, but He Tianzu's way of expressing his love wasn't subtle at all. Lin Yi slightly frowned. Although the 2 guys in front of him looked young, their strength wasn't low. This He Tianzu actually had the strength of a peak late phase sky class. Of course, it was also possible that he was already very old and was just maintaining his youthful appearance. After all, after stepping into sky class, one's appearance wouldn't change anymore. The other European young man, on the other hand, was sky class mid-stage. This was very rare, and so Lin Yi didn't need to guess to know that these two belonged to the Overseas Cultivators Association as well, and their positions weren't low either. Lin Yi wanted to avoid them, but he didn't think that He Tianzu would be so directly expressing his love to Shirhan. This made Lin Yi feel helpless. But at this time, Lin Yi really couldn't fight with them. This was their turf, and if they fought, they wouldn't be able to escape. Even if they escaped, the blue crystal would be gone. Young Chi-Chi's face froze. She didn't think that He Tianzu would make a request like this. She was in a difficult position, but after some hesitation, she still said, "This is the celebrity, Miss Shirhan. This time, she's here to discuss business with XXX Entertainment Company. She'll be leaving soon." Young Chi-Chi wanted to say that Shirhan was just a passerby, and would leave soon, but evidently He Tianzu didn't understand. He said, "I was wondering why Miss Su was so pretty, so you're a celebrity. XXX Entertainment Company may be famous, but there are too many big names there. In Frio Ona's house, there's also a film company, Christian Entertainment Company. It's not as famous as XXX, but I think that if you want to promote a newcomer, it'll be very easy." Last year, the newcomer who won the Best Actress award in XXX film was supported by Christian Entertainment Company. Since Miss Su is here for business, you have to consider the promotion of both sides. On this side, I can guarantee that all the resources will be used for Miss Su alone. I'll think about it. Thank you, young Master He. Su Shirhan was, after all, a celebrity. She had seen the world. After a short moment of shock, she smiled and said politely, "But, XXX Company was also introduced by my friend. I need to think about it carefully." "That's good. Right, Miss Su, are you here for the auction as well?" He Tianzu wasn't stupid, since Shirhan didn't agree directly, he wouldn't force her. There were many ways to pick up girls, so he changed the topic. Chapter 32-48. Are you really just looking around? Miss Su, what do you like? Don't hold back, I'm a shareholder of this company. If you like something, tell me beforehand, and I'll reserve it for you. Otherwise, who knows who will get it when the competition starts? He Tianzu said. Miss Su, you don't have to hide it. Since you're going to XXX Company to discuss a collaboration, and you're in a hurry, there's no way you'll be staying here for an auction. I'm sure Miss Su has your eyes on something here, right? Shirhan didn't expect He Tianzu to be this hard to deal with. This guy was a pervert, but he wasn't stupid. Chi-Chi's explanation only made him more persistent. But what could Shirhan say? She was only here to accompany Lin Yi. The only thing she knew was that Lin Yi wanted a blue crystal, but she couldn't tell him. What if He Tianzu tried to stop him? That wouldn't be worth it. Lin Yi was a bit impatient. Why was this He Tianzu so hard to deal with? If he knew that he was going to bid for a blue crystal, wouldn't there be some resistance? With that thought, Lin Yi could only say, I dragged Xiaohan to come with me, and I helped to contact XXX Entertainment Company. So, Xiaohan was actually waiting for me. Lin Yi didn't want to be in the limelight, but he had no choice. Shirhan was a celebrity, but her social experience was much less than this person in front of him. This He Tianzu was very hard to deal with, and Shirhan wasn't his opponent at all. Oh. He Tianzu looked at Lin Yi, a flash of unfriendliness in his eyes, but he still said politely, Mr. You are? Mr. He, you're from the association, right? What's your status in the association? Lin Yi didn't answer but asked back. He needed to find a reason to calm He Tianzu down, or he wouldn't be able to attend the auction. Brother Yi, this is young Master He, the son of the association's chairman, He Luan. Chi-Chi introduced to Lin Yi, but didn't say Lin Yi's name. Ah, so it's the chairman's son, nice to meet you. I came here this time to discuss a business deal with President He. Lin Yi smiled and extended his hand. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lin Yi, the sales manager of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. I'm here to establish a trade relationship with the Overseas Cultivators Association to sell our products, the first and second level automatic cauldrons. Oh. He Tianzu stared blankly for a moment. He also knew about the first-grade automatic cauldron. He was also prepared to send people to investigate and see if he could buy some in bulk. However, the death of an elder made the Overseas Cultivators Association temporarily not dare to act blindly without thinking. They were currently investigating the background of the murderer, Lin Yi. Since this person had the ability to kill a heaven stage expert, he was definitely not a nobody. However, he didn't expect that the Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company would send someone before the association even sent anyone. This surprised He Tianzu. He was even more surprised when he heard Lin Yi say that there were second-level automatic cauldrons. His attitude towards Lin Yi became warmer and he immediately shook hands with Lin Yi. Mr. Ling, does your company still sell second-level automatic cauldrons? It's about to go on the market. Lin Yi nodded, but it's limited. The current sales channel is only through the auctions of the Cultivators Association. However, I'm here this time to directly supply a few to the association. After all, you're far away from here, and it's not convenient for you to participate in the auctions. Our company also wants to establish a long-term business relationship with the association. Lin Yi spoke with conviction. After all, he was familiar with the first and second cauldrons, so he was able to trick He Tianzu in one fell swoop. Thank you so much. He Tianzu smiled and said, then I welcome Mr. Ling to visit the Overseas Cultivators Association after the auction. This is my name card. As he said that, He Tianzu handed a card to Lin Yi. Lin Yi took a look at it. There was only He Tianzu's name, a contact number, and an address. There was nothing else. Obviously, the address was the address of the association. I left my name card in the hotel. This time, I'm just following Sister Xiao Qi to experience the auction here. Lin Yi kept the name card and said. It's fine. He Tianzu waved his hand. Mr. Ling, you and Miss Su are. Xiao Han is our company's spokesperson. Naturally, Lin Yi couldn't say anything else. He Tianzu had just calmed down, and there was no telling what he was going to do next, catching Lin Yi off guard. Alright, then you're welcome to visit, Mr. Ling. I'll be leaving now. He Tianzu understood the gravity of the situation, and knew that this was not the time to get on Lin Yi's bad side. This guy was here to give them a treasure, and the association needed it. If they were to piss him off, then the automatic cauldron would be gone. So, He Tianzu decided to give up for now. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief, but didn't let his guard down at all. He planned to leave this place as soon as the auction was over. After entering the auction, Lin Yi followed Yang Chi-Chi to the VIP room. Anyone with a certain background would have their own VIP room, but even if it was just Lin Yi's group, Lin Yi still checked the room carefully to make sure there weren't any surveillance devices. Xiao Qi, you're in contact with this association. Yeah, Lin Yi bro, I'm a member of the association. All the overseas practitioners are members here, and they don't need to do much. All they need to do is register, and they get a certain amount of elixirs and treasures every month. It's a public welfare organization, I guess. Lin Yi nodded. It seemed like He Luodong really knew how to win people's hearts, gathering all these practitioners under his banner. He didn't need them to do anything right now, but in a critical moment, they could be very useful. And after Tang Yuqi became a heaven rank expert, it was only natural that the Overseas Cultivators Association wanted to keep him there. After all, Tang Yuqi had obtained a lot of cultivation resources from the Overseas Cultivators Association. It could be said that without the Overseas Cultivators Association, there wouldn't be a heaven-ranked Tang Yuqi. Chapter 32-49. But the association didn't give him any face at all, they couldn't even talk about it. To put it bluntly, strength was the only thing that mattered in the world of cultivation. But, if Lin Yi had known that the auction house was the association's territory, Lin Yi wouldn't have come at all. Even if he did, he wouldn't have used the identity of Lin Yi. He'd have put on a disguise, like 1,000 silk mask, or just let Chi-Chi show up. Who knew that the association would be built right in front of Chi-Chi's house? But since he was here, he couldn't hide anymore. Lin Yi had no choice but to continue. I see. Why didn't you mention this before? Lin Yi sighed. Before. You didn't ask before, Lin Yi bro. What's wrong, Lin Yi bro? It seems like you have some sort of grudge with the association. Chi-Chi wasn't an idiot, she could already guess what was going on. That's right, I killed one of their elders. Lin Yi said. Ah. Elder Qin. Chi-Chi blinked. Evidently, she knew about this as well. Chi-Chi, you know about this? Lin Yi was a bit surprised. He didn't expect Chi-Chi to know about this. All the members of the association know about it. Elder Wang came back alone, and Elder Qin, a sky-class mid-phase peak, was killed. They called us for a meeting to discuss what we should do, but we don't know much about that side, and I'm not a core member, so I don't even know who killed Elder Qin or how. I'm only attending the meeting to warn everyone not to mess with the ancient sections. Chi-Chi said. Lin Yi nodded. It's fine, we're already here. We'll leave this place as soon as the auction is over. Alright, then. About the cooperation with XXX Entertainment. Chi-Chi hesitated. Forget it, we'll go straight to Island X, Lin Yi said after a sigh. Shihan and Ching Yi didn't say anything else. After all, their safety was more important. They could only postpone the money-making business. Who told that He Tianzu to fall in love with Shihan? Soon, the auction began. Just like the other auctions, after the host explained the rules of the auction proceeded smoothly. Lin Yi looked at the auction guide. All of the items were treasures. Of course, these were for normal people, things that could extend one's lifespan and cure illnesses. There were basically no items that were beneficial for training. However, thinking about it, it made sense. The Overseas Cultivators Association probably bought some elixirs in bulk from somewhere. However, the elixirs that were useful for cultivation were kept for themselves. These elixirs were just accessories that they bought to generate income. These were things that Lin Yi didn't care about. There was quite a bit of competition, but it was normal. Most people who came to this auction were normal people. These people were after these treasures that could extend one's lifespan. Finally, it was time for the item that Lin Yi needed, the blue crystal. Lin Yi took a deep breath and nodded to Chi-Chi, indicating that he would be the one to bid. Lin Yi wanted to keep a low profile and try not to show his face. The next item is a blue crystal, a very rare gem. The host introduced the blue crystal. Of course, he didn't know that this thing could be used for crafting. Of course, even if he knew, it wouldn't have mattered if blacksmiths were gone now. Even if this thing was used by blacksmiths, it would only be a decoration. The people who came here to participate in the auction were basically here for heavenly materials and earthly treasures like longevity elixirs. These people didn't care much about gemstones and crystals. These luxurious items could be found in any other auction, and they didn't come here to study them. Therefore, when the blue crystal was taken out, it didn't attract too much attention. Even those who had been bidding for it just now picked up their teacups and prepared to drink some water to relax and welcome the next round of bidding. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was paying close attention to this blue crystal. 8 million. A voice rang out. The starting price of this blue crystal was 5 million. In auctions like this, the starting price wasn't high. It was all about the bidding. But there weren't many people who wanted this blue crystal. In fact, the only reason they brought it out was to relax a little. They didn't expect to sell it for a good price. 9 million. Another person also called out his own price. However, after this person called out 9 million, the previous person didn't raise the price anymore. Obviously, he wasn't determined to get it. Someone else bid higher than him, so he gave up. Perhaps he was just a scammer. His purpose was to prevent the auction from having an awkward silence and an unsold item. 10 million. Chi-Chi called out. She could tell that the auctioneer was getting ready to ask for the first time. Evidently, no one was interested in this item anymore. Chi-Chi's bid surprised the man who was bidding 9 million. He looked at Chi-Chi's room and gave up right away. The blue crystal wasn't very pure, and there were a lot of impurities in it. It was a huge discount on the value of the crystal. As a result, 10 million wasn't a bad price, but an item of this quality wasn't very useful. Of course, for collectors and engravers, a flaw in a crystal was a fatal wound. But it didn't matter to Lin Yi. He used it for crafting, and this blue crystal was just a supplementary material. He needed to grind it into powder, and the impurities wouldn't affect his usage at all. After Chi-Chi, no one else made a bid. The auctioneer raised his hammer as well. The guest from room 27 bids 10 million. Are there any higher bids? 10 million, going once. Just when Lin Yi thought he had it, a familiar voice rang out. It made Lin Yi frown. 12 million. The one who made the bid was He Tianzu, who he had met in the parking lot earlier. Chapter 3250. Evidently, He Tianzu had a purpose for doing this. Was he trying to go against Lin Yi? Lin Yi looked at Chi-Chi and nodded. 14 million. Chi-Chi called out again. 15 million. He Tianzu said. What was worth mentioning was that the prices here were all in euros, so 15 million was quite a high price. 17 million. Chi-Chi added another 2 million. 18 million. He Tianzu didn't hesitate. 20 million. Chi-Chi added another 2 million. 21 million. He Tianzu continued. Lin Yi took a deep breath. This He Tianzu was pushing the price to over 20 million. In this way, it wasn't as simple as it seemed. The price had already exceeded those ordinary heavenly materials and earthly treasures by a lot. The guests present were also very puzzled. How could such a broken blue crystal with impurities be so valuable? And there were people competing for it. Very few of these normal merchants knew who He Tianzu was, since they were on a different level. He didn't interact much with them, but Frio Christian, on the other hand, did interact with some of the merchants, but he wasn't the one bidding this time. Naturally, no one thought too much about it. Looking at Chi-Chi, Lin Yi raised 3 fingers. 30 million. Chi-Chi understood what Lin Yi was getting at. 40 million. This time, He Tianzu also changed the previous method of increasing the price by 1 million, and directly increased it by 10 million. 40 million wasn't a small amount. It made Lin Yi's mouth twitch. Lin Yi had some money now, but it wasn't a lot. It was all invested in the orphanage and the second-level cauldrons. 50 million. Chi-Chi continued, giving Lin Yi a reassuring look before whispering, I still have money here, 100 million. He Tianzu simply did not bother to deal with it, and directly began to quote a large price. Even Chi-Chi, who had some money stashed away, was shocked by the price. Of course, this was for Lin Yi's auction. Chi-Chi didn't hesitate, 150 million. 300 million. He Tianzu said faintly. Chi-Chi was about to continue when Lin Yi shook his head, it's fine, give up, ah. Chi-Chi blinked, not understanding why Lin Yi would give up just like that. I have some money stashed away, around 1 billion. If you can't do it, I can borrow from Lil Fazhou. It's not a matter of money. He Tianzu is the boss of this auction house, and no matter what price he calls out, it's just money in his left pocket. He can call out however much he wants, buying under the company's name and selling under the company's name. He doesn't even need to pay a commission, it's just a formality. He could even call out 10 billion. Chi-Chi thought about it, it was true. This auction house belonged to He Tianzu, and no matter how much she bid, she wouldn't be able to compete with him. And so, Chi-Chi didn't say anything and gave up. The guest in room 3 has bid 300 million. Are there any higher bids? 300 million, going once, going twice, going thrice. Sold. The auctioneer closed the auction. Let's go, there's no point in us staying here. Lin Yi stood up, and Chi-Chi, Shirhan, and Ching Yi followed Lin Yi, leaving the room and heading to the elevator. Chi-Chi, Shirhan, and Ching Yi didn't say anything else. They knew that Lin Yi didn't get the blue crystal, so he wasn't in a good mood. But there was nothing they could do about it. He Tianzu's actions were unpredictable. The four of them took the elevator to the underground parking lot. Just as they were about to get into the car, the door of the elevator dedicated to the internal passage opened. Inside the elevator, He Tianzu and Friano Kristen slowly walked out. He Tianzu, on the other hand, was holding a box, smiling as he walked towards Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't understand what He Tianzu was doing, but he politely stopped. He Tianzu wasn't much of a threat in his eyes. He was a sky-class late-phase peak, and with Lin Yi's current strength, even if he couldn't kill him instantly, he could still injure him when he was unprepared. But what would he do after that? There would be endless troubles, and he wouldn't even be able to escape from this city. Miss Su, I'm sorry, I was bidding just to personally deliver this blue crystal to Miss Su. He Tianzu smiled and passed the box to Su Shirhan. He did this for Shirhan's sake. It didn't matter which of the four of them needed this crystal, since he gave it to Shirhan, it was the same as leaving a good impression on Shirhan. Since Shirhan was the spokesperson of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, no matter what, he couldn't force her. If things went sour with Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, and they couldn't provide the first and second level cauldrons, then it wouldn't be worth it. So he changed his strategy, using this method to make Shirhan owe him a favor, and things could be done step by step. Thank you. Shirhan hesitated, but still took the blue crystal. Shirhan didn't know what this thing was used for, but one thing was for sure, Lin Yi really needed it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come all the way here to participate in the auction. So even if Shirhan knew He Tianzu's intentions weren't pure, she still accepted it. Miss Su, then I won't bother you anymore. Go back and think about my proposal, I'll visit you later. He Tianzu smiled. With that, He Tianzu got into his sports car with Frio and left the parking lot. Lin Yi watched the sports car leave, and Chi-Chi and the others got into the MPV. Lin Yi said to Chi-Chi, no need to go back to the hotel, don't take anything, just drive away. Okay. Chi-Chi nodded and started the car. Inside the hotel, there were only some luggage and Su Shirhan and Ching Yi's clothes. Although it was expensive, it was better to lose them than lose their lives. Young Chi-Chi got out of the auction and headed towards the highway, but she didn't get far before a red Ferrari overtook her from behind. It was He Tianzu's car. Chapter 32:51. Was it because of him or Su Shihan? Maybe, they were just passing by. However, He Tianzu's next move showed his purpose. The red sports car went straight to the front of Lin Yi's car, and from the front passenger seat, a person jumped out. This person was Frio Leono, a Sky-class early phase. It was easy for him to stop a speeding car. It was absolutely impossible to kill him. How could a heaven stage expert be killed by a car? Not only would he not die, but the car would also be destroyed. So Lin Yi said, "Chi-Chi, stop the car." Actually, when Lin Yi said that, Chi-Chi was already slowing down. If the car was hit, she and Lin Yi were practitioners, so it wouldn't be a problem. But Su Shihan and Qing Yi would be in danger. Of course, she didn't know that Qing Yi was also a practitioner. But Frio Leono didn't just stand there and wait for Lin Yi's car to come over. After he got off, he ran towards Lin Yi's car. Even if Chi-Chi stopped, it was useless. A Sky-class's speed was not to be underestimated. When Frio Leono rushed over, he suddenly kicked Lin Yi's car. There was a loud bang, and the car shook violently, flying towards the side of the road. "Careful!" Lin Yi shouted and quickly held Su Shihan tightly, channeling the art of dragon mastery, using his chi to protect Su Shihan. As for Chi-Chi and Qing Yi, they were fine. Lin Yi didn't need to worry. Chi-Chi was a physical practitioner, and her body was stronger than spiritual practitioners. Qing Yi was an earth class, too. Even if the car broke, they would be fine. After a series of violent bumps and rolls, the car rolled a couple of times on the gravel on the side of the road before coming to a stop. The body of the car was completely caved in, but Chi-Chi and Qing Yi were fine. Shihan, who was protected by Lin Yi, was fine as well. However, the next moment, Frio Leonor ran over and grabbed the deformed door of the minivan. He pulled it easily, and the door fell down. The next moment, Frio Leonor looked at Lin Yi and the others in the car mockingly. "Not dead yet?" Sure enough, the whole car is filled with cultivators. "You really can't judge a book by its cover." Frio said lightly, "Get out of the car and come back with us. If you surrender, I won't touch you for the time being. Otherwise, you will suffer." "Frio Leonor, what do you mean? Is this how you treat the customers of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company?" Lin Yi asked faintly, trying his luck. "Guessed." Frio Leonor smiled coldly and said faintly, "Lin Yi, stop pretending. Do you think we didn't find out who you are?" In fact, Frio Leonor and He Tianzu just found out about Lin Yi's real identity. He Tianzu had reported Lin Yi and Su Shihan's identity to his old man, He Luonan, and naturally, He Luonan had to investigate Lin Yi's background to see if he was from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. In the end, Lin Yi's identity was revealed. Lin Yi was the murderer who killed Elder Qin, Lin Yi. Elder Wang recognized the person who was pretending to be Lin Yi immediately. So, He Luonan immediately called He Tianzu and told him not to act rashly. He had to stabilize Lin Yi first, and a large number of reinforcements would arrive soon. However, He Tianzu didn't do that. After receiving the call, he immediately chased after Lin Yi and was ready to make a move. He was young and rash. He didn't believe that Lin Yi could kill Elder Qin in a second. From his perspective, it must be Elder Wang's fault. In order to avoid losing face, he exaggerated about how powerful Lin Yi was to absolve himself of responsibility for his escape. In He Tianzu's understanding, no matter how powerful Lin Yi was, how could a Sky-class early-phase master kill a Sky-class mid-phase peak in a second? Their strengths were completely different. How could he do that? It was like a golden-class master killing a mystic-class master. He Tianzu didn't believe it at all. Moreover, the most important thing was that Lin Yi lied to him before. This made He Tianzu very angry. He wanted to get back at him. He couldn't give away the blue crystal for nothing. Of course, there was also another reason. He wanted to push Su Shihan away as soon as possible. If Su Shihan was seen by his father, he would most likely ruin his plan. He Tianzu's mnemonic chant was a kind of pure yang mnemonic chant. He shouldn't get close to women as it would slow down his cultivation speed. Although he was already a peak late-stage heaven rank, He Lutu wanted him to step into the perfection realm as soon as possible. Before reaching the perfection realm, his private life was very restricted. So, if Su Shihan was seen by He Luanu, he probably wouldn't let him get close to her. He Tianzu was a lecher. Actually, in the end, it could also be explained that he had been holding it in for so many years. The children who were with him all cultivated different mantras than he did. Watching them play with women, and changing lovers one after another, He Tianzu was truly envious. But because of the family rules, he could only sneak in. Even so, he was still discovered by his father, and was reprimanded and placed in confinement several times. But this time, after seeing Su Shihan, he couldn't suppress the desire in his heart. He swore to get Su Shihan into bed. He couldn't wait anymore. So, he and Frio made a move together. Lin Yi heard Frio call out his name. He knew that it was bad. They must know his identity already. There was no point in hiding it anymore. He quickly calculated in his mind. But on the surface, Lin Yi still got off the car obediently. He said to Frio, "I can get off and go with you, but young Chi-Chi is just a friend I met in the Ice Palace. It has nothing to do with her. Can you let her go?" "Sure." Frio nodded. He didn't know what kind of relationship Lin Yi and young Chi-Chi had. After all, young Chi-Chi grew up in Europe, and Lin Yi was a practitioner from China. These two shouldn't have anything to do with each other. But Lin Yi said that he met young Chi-Chi in the Ice Palace. That made sense. Young Chi-Chi was very interested in participating in trials with great rewards. The association knew about these trials, but they rarely sent people to participate. It was too dangerous. The reward wasn't worth the effort. Chapter 3252. It was said that she was related to that powerful man back in the day, and so the association didn't want to offend her. Even if the Common World Assassin Group wasn't much of a threat to them, and that man had disappeared for many years, it was hard to say if he was related to Chi-Chi or not. But they didn't want to start a feud if they could avoid it. After all, Chi-Chi was a member of the association. "Young Chi-Chi, leave this place." Lin Yi looked at Chi-Chi, giving her a reassuring look before telling her to leave. Chi-Chi trusted Lin Yi unconditionally, and didn't think much about it. She thought that Lin Yi had complete confidence in dealing with these two, and her presence might make things difficult for him. And so, Chi-Chi nodded and left without another word. Perhaps, in Chi-Chi's eyes, Lin Yi was invincible? In the Ice Palace, the Cultivator Trade Association, and the Sky Elixir Sex Test, Lin Yi had shown extraordinary capabilities, and so Chi-Chi didn't think that he would be in any danger. After all, Chi-Chi still had to help Lin Yi gather materials in Europe in the future, and it wouldn't be good for Chi-Chi or Lin Yi if she were to get into trouble with these people. Chi-Chi was the one who took the blue crystal box, and this was what Lin Yi hinted at. Frio saw it, but didn't say anything. If Chi-Chi really needed the blue crystal, then there was no need to investigate. Chi-Chi was a practitioner, and while the car was flipped and unrecognizable, it could still be driven with a push. Chi-Chi pushed the car back onto the highway and drove away. At this time, He Tianzu walked over as well. In Lin Yi's eyes, Frio wasn't a threat, but He Tianzu was. A Sky-class late-phase peak, Lin Yi didn't know if he could kill him with his current strength. Moreover, Lin Yi had been too busy recently and had not tried to activate the 10th style of the Frenzy Fire 8 trigrams palm. If he could successfully activate the 10th style of the Frenzy Fire 8 trigrams palm, he might be able to arm wrestle with He Tianzu. Lin Yi took a deep breath and looked at He Tianzu. He Tianzu, I don't think there's any hatred between us, and I'm not lying to you. If you do some research, you'll find out that I'm the boss of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. If the Overseas Cultivators Association wants to purchase a Tier 1 and Tier 2 automatic medical cauldron, it has to go through my hands. You can't avoid me, so I think we can still sit down and talk. He Tianzu frowned slightly. Lin Yi's words weren't unreasonable. Could it be that his father had also thought of this problem when he didn't want him to act? If he had acted rashly, he would have almost ruined the whole thing. Although it was important to avenge Elder Qin, the automatic medical cauldron was equally important. With the automatic medical cauldron, the Overseas Cultivators Association would be able to concoct more medicinal pills and train more cultivators. I'll make a call. He Tianzu nodded slightly and dialed He Luodan's number. Father. He Tianzu didn't say much. He didn't mention a word about how he intercepted Lin Yi. He only said that he stabilized Lin Yi and told He Luodan what Lin Yi said. On the other side, He Tianzu nodded repeatedly and hung up after a while. How was it? Lin Yi asked. He Tianzu's answer would directly determine his next move. Lin Yi, you're the boss of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, so there's no need for you to lie to me. However, I can also tell you that the automatic medical cauldron is not only sold by your company, the Sky Elixir sect is also selling it. We can go to the Sky Elixir sect to buy it. We don't need to go through you. He Tianzu said. Lin Yi frowned slightly. Sky Elixir sect. Indeed, the Sky Elixir sect's imitation seemed to be troublesome now. They're just imitating our products. They don't have any research and development capabilities. Our second-level automatic medical cauldron will be on the market soon. Among them, I believe young master he knows very well which one has the best future, Lin Yi said. Haha, that's just your side of the story. The Sky Elixir sect is an old school of alchemy. How do you know that they don't have research capabilities? Without Butcher Zhang, I wouldn't eat a pig. He Tianzu said indifferently. However, if Mr. Lin wants to redeem himself, that's fine. As long as Mr. Lin can help me and let Miss Su Shihan sign in my company, we'll be business partners. How about that? I'll go back and think about it. Lin Yi pondered for a while and said. Think about it. If you nod, I'll take Su Shihan away. Then we'll consider this settled. Otherwise, pretend I didn't say anything. He Tianzu threatened. In fact, He Luoda's phone call had already made it very clear. If Lin Yi could pay a higher price, then they could work together. After all, Elder Chen's life was not as important as the overall benefits of the association. Of course, if Lin Yi didn't cooperate, then there was still the Sky Elixir sect. They could still buy automatic medical cauldrons from Lin Yi. So, this ambiguous answer gave He Tianzu a chance to take Su Shihan down. Lin Yi didn't think that this rich kid wasn't stupid. He knew to take Su Shihan back first. It seemed that his plan to stall for time wasn't going to work. Thinking up to here, Lin Yi sighed and said, He Tianzu, have you thought about it? You really want to go against me? Lin Yi, what do you mean by that? I was kind enough to contact the film company for Miss Su Shirhan. How is that going against you? He Tianzu said calmly. I'm sure you know what you're thinking in your heart, don't you? Lin Yi smiled and said non-committally. Okay, don't worry about what I'm thinking. This is my request. If you agree, then we'll sit down and talk. If you don't, then we'll go our separate ways. He Tianzu looked at Lin Yi as if he had control over the whole situation, leaving Lin Yi with no choice. Is that so? Lin Yi took a deep breath and said, let me think about it, can I? Of course. He Tianzu nodded indifferently. From what he saw, Lin Yi's so-called think about it was just because he didn't want to lose face. People under other people's eaves had to lower their heads. He didn't think that Lin Yi had the courage to go against him. Lin Yi pretended to lower his head and pondered. In fact, he was chanting the chant and suddenly, he made his move. Chapter 3253. This was Lin Yi's first time activating the 10th form of Frenzy 8 Trigram Palm. Although Lin Yi couldn't guarantee success, he had to give it a try. However, Lin Yi didn't dare to use his full strength. Instead, he reserved a portion of qi. After all, even if Lin Yi could kill He Tianzu, there was still Freya Nu next to him. Lin Yi couldn't bet everything on He Tianzu. Boom dash, fortunately, Lin Yi successfully activated it. It seemed that using the 10th form of Frenzy 8 Trigram Palm at the peak of early phase of Heaven class was still possible. However, Lin Yi could clearly feel that when this palm landed on He Tianzu's body, it wasn't as shocking as when he used Frenzy 8 Trigram Palm on other people. He Tianzu's body shook a little, and he quickly took a few steps back. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, but he didn't die. Instead, he suffered a moderate injury. Cheng Yi, hug me from behind. Lin Yi suddenly shouted. Along with his shout, he carried Su Shirhan on his shoulder. Cheng Yi was an Earth-class practitioner, so her reaction was very fast. She directly jumped onto Lin Yi's back. Lin Yi started running. Under Lin Yi's feet was the wind-chasing lightning boots. Lin Yi already knew how to use this weapon. Now that he couldn't kill He Tianzu, he could only run. Chase! He Tianzu didn't think that Lin Yi would dare to sneak an attack. Before this, He Tianzu thought that Lin Yi would definitely give in, but he didn't think that Lin Yi would actually attack him when he was unprepared. Although this move wasn't fatal to He Tianzu, it was enough to affect his movement and strength. Therefore, He Tianzu directly ordered Freya Nu. He quickly took out a small medicine bottle, poured out a pill, and directly put it in his mouth. Then, he adjusted his breathing. Freya Nu wasn't an idiot. He was the vice leader's son. Although he usually hung out with He Tianzu, he wasn't He Tianzu's subordinate. He was only an early phase Heaven class. If Lin Yi could injure He Tianzu, then he must be a very powerful person. Although on the surface, Lin Yi's strength was only at the peak of early phase Heaven class, if Lin Yi could injure He Tianzu, then his strength was probably as high as the rumors said. But although it was very high, it wasn't very troublesome. If there were a few peak late phase Heaven powerhouses besieging Lin Yi, or a great perfection powerhouse, then Lin Yi would definitely be captured. Thinking of this, Freya Nu felt some regret. He should have advised He Tianzu not to act rashly, but now that He Tianzu was injured and Lin Yi ran away, he didn't dare to act rashly. Freya Nu, why don't you chase him? He Tianzu recuperated his body, and his injury slightly calmed down. After catching his breath, he quickly asked. Young Master I'm only at the early phase of the Heaven realm. If I go after him, wouldn't I be sending you off? Freya Nu bitterly smiled. You aren't his opponent. If I go, I might not be able to come back. He Tianzu was slightly startled, but he immediately nodded. Frianu was right, he was only at the early phase of the heaven realm. If Lin Yi could even injure him, who was at the peak late phase of the heaven realm, then killing Frianu definitely wouldn't be a problem. At this moment, He Tianzu believed that Elder Qin had been killed by Lin Yi, but he wasn't willing. He clenched his teeth and said, "Let's chase together, we can't let him escape. You deal with those two women, I'll deal with Lin Yi." Okay. Frianu had no problem dealing with the two women, as long as he didn't directly face Lin Yi. At this moment, Lin Yi had already run far away. Although He Tianzu and Frianu were Heaven Realm experts, it was still very difficult for them to chase after him. Looking at Lin Yi's gradually disappearing figure, the two were somewhat puzzled. How could Lin Yi run so fast? Lin Yi didn't dare to stop for even a moment. After all, although He Tianzu was injured, it was obvious that after taking the recover pill, it was not a big problem. If he caught up to Lin Yi, it would be very easy for him to kill the current Lin Yi. After all, when Lin Yi had urged the 10th style of the Frenzy 8 trigram palm, he had already used most of his strength and true qi, and the remaining strength and true qi were used to run away. Therefore, Lin Yi carried one on his back and the other on his back, running all the way on the highway. Fortunately, there were not many cars on the highway, otherwise they would have been scared to death by Lin Yi's behavior. Although He Tianzu and Frianu's speed was not slow, and Lin Yi had two people to drag him down, Lin Yi not only had the exquisite butterfly subtle steps, but also the gale-chasing lightning boots. His speed was incomparably fast. In the blink of an eye, he had left the two people far behind. This kid is stepping on the wind fire wheels, right? How can he run so fast? He Tianzu also used all his strength, but not only did he not catch up, but he also chased further and further away, which made him very depressed. It is indeed a bit strange, there is something strange about this kid. Frianu also said. Although he did not guess that Lin Yi had a divine weapon, he could clearly feel that Lin Yi was different from normal people. Finally, Lin Yi disappeared, and He Tianzu and Frianu had to stop and sit in the wheat field by the road to rest. At this time, He Tianzu's phone also rang. "Hello. Dad." He Tianzu's voice was very careful, after all, he had made a mistake and made a mistake. "Tianzu, where are you?" He Luan's voice came from the phone. "Dad, I am sorry, I acted rashly, not only was I injured by Lin Yi, but I also let him run away." He Tianzu said gloomily. "What?" He Luan's voice was stagnant, and then he became angry. "Didn't I tell you to stop him first, and then wait for us to go over?" He Tianzu naturally did not dare to say anything about Su Shihan, so he could only say, Lin Yi seemed to have noticed something. After leaving the auction, he directly drove to the highway. We had no choice but to stop him. "Oh. Then you could have followed him, you gave up such a good opportunity for nothing." He Luan also knew that Lin Yi was a practitioner. If he ran away, it would be very difficult to catch him again. So he also knew that no matter how he reprimanded He Tianzu, it would be useless, so he could only say, forget it, if he ran away, then he ran away. "I originally wanted to use this incident to make Lin Yi give up some of the benefits, then we can also get the cheap automatic medicine cauldron, but now it seems that if Lin Yi ran away, then I am afraid that he will never come here again, we have nothing to threaten him with." Chapter 3254. What about Yang Qiqi? He Tianzu asked after some hesitation. Yang Qiqi and Lin Yi are probably just acquaintances, but they're pretty close. She grew up here, and doesn't have much to do with the practitioners over there. Her background is a little complicated, too, so it's best if we don't touch her. He Luonan shook his head, rejecting He Tianzu's suggestion. He didn't want to offend people because of Lin Yi, especially since Yang Qiqi was a member of the association. If he took his anger out on Qiqi because of Lin Yi, it'd make the other members hate him. Who knew if they were enemies of the association when they made friends? If they took their anger out on every enemy they met, then there'd be no point in making friends with them. Then our cauldrons. He Tianzu knew that he'd gotten into trouble. It seems like I can only ask for help from the Sky Elixir sect. Although I don't want to contact that person, there's no other choice. I can only ask for his help now. He Luan sighed. He'd been thinking about the automatic cauldron before, but Miracle Dr. Guan's company's cauldron had countless connections with Lin Yi. He didn't know much about the Sky Elixir sect either, so he could only ask for that person's help. But he'd already broken ties with that person, and he didn't want to contact him anymore. Dad. I'm sorry. He Tianzu understood his father's predicament, feeling helpless and apologetic. It's fine, you and Frio can come back. Let's just leave this as it is. We'll deal with Lin Yi in the future. We know how strong he is now, and if he could only injure you and run away, then he's obviously not that strong, He Luonan comforted. Yes, father. He Tianzu quickly nodded his head in agreement. He Tianzu and Frio returned to the association's headquarters dejectedly, only to see He Luonan with a dark expression on his face. You two, kneel down. He Luonan said coldly. He Tianzu was his son, but the association had its rules. Even if he was He Luonan's son, he still had to go through the motions. Yes. He Tianzu and Frio Leonor did not argue. Both of them knelt in the hall. Although Frio Leonor was accompanying them, he had no choice. Who asked him to not stop them? You guys should think about your own mistakes first. I'll contact the Chinese cultivators. He Luoluo really didn't want to make this call. It had been so many years since he left his hometown. 50 years ago, he had quarreled with his big brother. Then, 11 years ago, he successfully reached the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage. He founded the Overseas Cultivators Association, a sect that was not inferior to the ancient sections. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to understand the bitterness of this. Although He Luonan also understood that his elder brother reprimanded him for his own good, he still couldn't untie this knot in his heart. So many years had passed. Although he knew his elder brother's number and knew what his elder brother was doing now, he still hadn't contacted him. After all, his elder brother was in the light, and he was in the dark. However, today's matter caught He Luonan unprepared. He originally hoped to get the right to buy the automatic cauldron from Lin Yi, but now, he could only pin his hopes on his elder brother. After all, his elder brother had some relationship with the Heavenly Elixir sect. He Luonan, on the other hand, had no contact with the Heavenly Elixir sect at all. Arriving at a secret room, He Luan dialed the number that he had tried to call over the past few years, but was always cut off by him. Hello? Who is it? A deep voice came from the other side of the phone. Elder brother. After hearing this voice, He Luonan's eyes were filled with tears. For a moment, he was filled with emotion, warhead. After hearing this voice on the other side of the phone, he couldn't believe it and asked subconsciously. It's me. Elder brother. He Luonan originally thought that he had a grudge against his elder brother, but after saying this sentence, he buried the grudge in his heart for decades. Luonan, where are you? How have you been these past few years? When will you come back to help me? Now, the Five Elements sect is completely under my control. In the beginning, I taught you a lesson because I was afraid that Master would be wary of me. But now, I have the final say. It turned out that He Luonan's elder brother was actually ancestor Xianqin of the Five Elements sect. Back then, because He Luonan was young, he relied on the fact that his elder brother was ancestor Xianqin, so he said some pretentious words. Ancestor Xianqin usually doted on his younger brother. However, ancestor Xianqin was afraid that his younger brother's words would cause Master to be afraid, so he taught He Luonan a lesson. Unexpectedly, He Luonan left the sect and disappeared. Because He Luonan was only an in-name disciple of the Five Elements sect and not a direct disciple, he was not very important. Ancestor Xuanqin's master did not send anyone to look for him. Because of the sect rules, ancestor Xianqin could not search for him. This matter could only be left unsettled. Many years later, ancestor Xianqin took charge of the Five Elements sect. Although he secretly inquired about He Luonan's whereabouts, there was no more news, which made ancestor Xianqin very regretful. As he grew older, ancestor Xianqin also gave up looking for He Luonan. After all, he did not believe that He Luonan could cultivate very well. After so many years, He Luonan might have already passed away. After all, He Luonan was just a little playboy who relied on his elder brother's strength to run amok in the sect. He was not very interested in cultivation. But unexpectedly, He Luonan actually called. He was actually still alive. Elder brother. I am overseas. You know about the Overseas Cultivators Association. He Luonan said, choking with sobs. I know. Are you a member there? Come back and help me. I know about the Overseas Cultivators Association. Although it is not small, it is still someone else's business. Ancestor Xianqin invited. Elder brother, the Overseas Cultivators Association was founded by me. He Luonan smiled bitterly and said, Is your younger brother that bad? Elder brother can take charge of the Five Elements sect, but I can't. What? The Overseas Cultivators Association is yours. Ancestor Xianqin was shocked after hearing this. Then, the elder Qin who was killed by Lin Yi before was your subordinate. Chapter 32:55. Luo Duan, it's not that I don't want to help you. I want to advise you that Lin Yi is not a person to be trifled with. You'd better not go against him. Ancestor Xianqin pondered for a moment and said seriously. Brother. What do you mean? Why is Lin Yi not a person to be trifled with? Did you listen to the rumors? I heard before that Lin Yi could instantly kill an expert at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage, but that's just a rumor. It doesn't count. He Luo Duan didn't expect his elder brother to believe these nonsense. He suddenly found it funny. That Lin Yi was chased by my son until he was forced to retreat. He could only injure my son. It's not a big deal at all. As he spoke, He Luo Duan recounted the previous process to ancestor Xianqin in detail. Luo Duan, is what he said true? Ancestor Xianqin was shocked after hearing it. In that case, Lin Yi was not a threat at all. He didn't think that his younger brother would lie. Although the two brothers hadn't seen each other for more than 50 years, ancestor Xianqin believed that He Luo Duan wouldn't lie to him on such a big matter. Of course it's true. That Lin Yi is only at the peak of the early stage of heaven stage. He is indeed a little more powerful than the other peak of the early stage of heaven stage. Being able to injure my son also proves this point. However, it's not a serious injury. A recover pill can completely solve the problem. He Luo Duan said. Oh. Ancestor Xianqin couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Things seemed a little unusual. You mean, Lin Yi ran overseas? Yes, Lin Yi is here. As he spoke, He Luo Duan told Ancestor Xianchen what Lin Yi did here. Lin Yi went to look for the blue crystal. Ancestor Xianchen was slightly surprised. He naturally knew what the blue crystal was used for. It was a material that could be used by blacksmiths. Tagan Long needed the blue crystal to refine the essence chi necklace. However, before Tagan Long could refine it, Lin Yi had snatched away the manual and essence chi Niden. Then, he was injured, so the matter was delayed. Could it be that Lin Yi was looking for the blue crystal to refine a profound chi necklace? Patriarch Xianchen could not be blamed for thinking this way. After all, for cultivators, the blue crystal was only used for forging weapons. There was no other use for it. As for whether Lin Yi was a blacksmith, Patriarch Xianchen did not think too much about it. In his opinion, since Lin Yi could make an automatic medicine cauldron, he might be able to forge weapons automatically. Even if he could not, it would not be difficult to forge a essence necklace. He might be able to do it using other special methods. Big brother, what's wrong? He Luonan was slightly taken aback. That blue crystal can only be used by blacksmiths. No one else can. I still have a lot of it here. Big brother, do you need it? I have a lot too. I don't need it. I just suspect that Lin Yi picked up a weapon. Patriarch Xianchen shook his head and said, forget it, let's not study this. Although Lin Yi's performance on your side is relatively weak, there are a few rumors here. They don't seem to be fake. Let me tell you. As he spoke, Patriarch Xianchen told the legend of Lin Yi to He Luonan. After listening, He Luonan clicked his tongue in wonder. He had some doubts in his heart. The deaths of peak late stage and great perfection peak late stage experts were also a fact. He did not think that Patriarch Xianchen did not confirm whether these people were dead or not, so these people must be dead. As for how they died and whether it had anything to do with Lin Yi, he did not know. But it seemed that Lin Yi was really strange. Thinking of this, He Luonan nodded and said, Big brother, I understand what you mean. Let's forget about Lin Yi. I will not take the initiative to provoke him for the time being. Everything will wait until the truth is out. And I will carefully investigate Lin Yi. Wait for my news. Patriarch Xianchen said. He was actually very puzzled. What was going on with Lin Yi? Why did the strength he showed not match the rumors? Okay, big brother, there is one more thing. Isn't the 5-element sect related to the Heavenly Elixir sect? Can you help me to buy some first-grade automatic medicine cauldrons? He Luonan asked. Oh, this matter, no problem. Patriarch Xianchen agreed after listening and said, this medicine cauldron was made by my son-in-law. It is only sold under the Heavenly Elixir sect's brand. I will give you 10 later. Ah. Thank you, big brother. He Luonan said happily after listening. It's a small matter. Patriarch Xianchen shook his head and said, Luonan, when I am ready, you can come and get it. Us two brothers, let's get together, okay? He Luonan readily agreed this time. And, bring your son too. I have never seen my nephew. Patriarch Xianchen said. He Luonan and Patriarch Xianchen ended the call, and Patriarch Xianchen called Kong Mingming over. Father-in-law, why are you looking for me? After Kong Mingming came over, he asked respectfully. It's like this. Go and investigate Lin Yi, especially Lin Yi's battles with the Heaven Stage Masters and the process of killing the Heaven Stage Masters in seconds. Investigate them in detail. Patriarch Xianchen ordered. Oh. This. What is there to investigate? Father-in-law, is there a problem? Kong Mingming was slightly stunned and asked curiously. And, it's like this. Therefore, Patriarch Xianqin told Kong Mingming about Lin Yi's conflict with the Overseas Cultivators Association in Europe. After listening, Kong Mingming's eyes suddenly lit up. If this was true, then it meant that Lin Yi wasn't as scary as the rumors made him out to be. If that was the case, then he wouldn't have to be afraid of Lin Yi anymore. He was afraid that Lin Yi was invincible, so he didn't dare to make a fuss about it. But now, thinking of this, Kong Mingming quickly nodded and agreed, "Okay, father-in-law, I will go and investigate this matter now." "And you go. If there is anything you can't figure out, just report to me. We will discuss it together," Patriarch Xianqin said. "I understand." After receiving the order, Kong Mingming excitedly went to investigate. After Kong Mingming left, Patriarch Xianqin fell into deep thought. He had never thought that the Overseas Cultivators Association would be his younger brother's force. If that happened, the Five Elements sect would be even more powerful than before, and they would have a greater say in the future plan. She could only nod. Also, that blue crystal, if the association asks, don't tell them you bought it for me. Just tell them you bought it yourself. Lin Yi instructed. If they ask you what you want to do, tell them that you heard that blue crystals can be used to make divine weapons. Buy them and collect them, and see if you can find someone to make them for you in the future. Alright, I understand. Chi-Chi nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Also, if they ask me and Shirhan why we're here at the auction, just tell them that you're here. We're just here to watch the show, but we didn't see anything too good. Lin Yi said. Alright, I understand. Chi-Chi was a smart person. She knew that Lin Yi wanted her to help him collect the other materials. If she said that Lin Yi needed it, then she wouldn't be able to participate in the auction anymore. Then let's do it. After I settle down, we'll go to Island X. We'll meet there. Lin Yi said. Island X was one of the places where Lin Yi lived when he was young. His master and mistress lived there. It had been so many years since his master left, and he never went there again. Lin Yi, Shirhan, and Cheng Yi took advantage of the dark to come to a small town nearby. They didn't dare reveal their identities, so they didn't stay in a hotel. Instead, they went to a bath center. They could rest there at night, but they didn't need to register. It was very convenient. Lin Yi's guess was right. Before Chi-Chi could even go apologize to the association, the people from the association had already come to find her. They wanted to know more about her situation. But when young Chi-Chi came to the guild, the chairman was very polite to her. Young Chi-Chi, please have a seat. I've called you here because there's something I'd like to know. President He, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Ling Yi was the enemy of the association. Chi-Chi said apologetically. Please punish me, President He. Chi-Chi said apologetically. Chi-Chi, what are you doing? He Luonan waved his hand. I'm not blaming you. I know you don't know, so it's not your fault. I just want to know more. Alright, go ahead. Chi-Chi nodded. It's like this. You and Lin Yi, how did you meet? He Luonan asked. Ling Yi. That's Lin Yi. During the test, he changed his name to Ling Yi. In the Ice Palace test, I was bullied. Lin Yi saw that I was a girl, alone, so he helped me out. Chi-Chi said. After that, in the Sky Elixir test, he helped me as well. So we became friends. He Luonan nodded. It was more or less what he guessed. Chi-Chi and Lin Yi could only be considered strangers who met by chance. They were just slightly better friends. They didn't have any other relationship. Then why did he come here? He came here to help Shirhan and Ching-Yi contact an entertainment company. As the host, of course, I had to entertain them, Chi-Chi said. Chapter 3257. I was the one who suggested the auction, actually. I said that there might be some resources useful to practitioners being auctioned off, and we'll let them join in the fun. Chi-Chi said. But there's nothing useful to them in the auction, anyway. That's right, Chi-Chi said. Oh, the blue crystal. He Luodong nodded. That. I just bought it to keep. Chi-Chi suddenly felt a little embarrassed. I heard that blue crystal is a material for forging weapons, so I was thinking that I'd collect some materials and see if I could ask someone to forge a weapon for me when I reach Sky Class. Oh? He Luodan paused after hearing Chi-Chi's words. He didn't think that Chi-Chi would buy this blue crystal for this purpose. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chi-Chi, the blacksmith profession has disappeared for a long time, don't you know? Even if you collect all the materials, you won't be able to forge a weapon. Ah. I don't know. Chi-Chi shook her head. Our association doesn't have it, but the ones in China don't either. One look at Chi-Chi's face, and he Luodong believed her. The information in the association was very limited, and all the practitioners here got their information from the association. The association had never mentioned anything about blacksmithing, so it was normal that Chi-Chi didn't know about it. Plus, blue crystal was one of the materials for blacksmiths, and this was a top secret. Normal practitioners didn't know about it, and he Luodong only knew a thing or two because he grew up in the Five Elements sect. As a result, he didn't think that this was what Lin Yi wanted. After all, Lin Yi and Chi-Chi weren't that close, and Lin Yi wouldn't tell Chi-Chi that he wanted it. It was a secret, and if he were Lin Yi, he wouldn't tell her anything. The only possibility was that Chi-Chi was telling the truth, and that this was what she needed. There shouldn't be any blacksmiths in China. He Luodong shook his head, not caring about this anymore, but if you want to collect it, go ahead. Chi-Chi, thank you for your cooperation. Go get your training resources for this month, and you can go back. Ah. Thank you, Chairman He. Chi-Chi said quickly. He Luodong nodded and didn't say anything else. As far as he was concerned, Chi-Chi wasn't suspicious, and he only called her over to ask some questions before letting her go. Chi-Chi let out a breath of relief after leaving, but she didn't show anything out of the ordinary. She went to get her training resources and left the association. After Lin Yi settled down, he smiled bitterly. He wanted to go out with Su Shirhan to relax, but he didn't expect something like this to happen. Fortunately, he had the wind chaser boots, otherwise, he wouldn't be able to escape this disaster. But at least he was temporarily out of danger, and the cooperation between Su Shirhan and Ching Yi was definitely not going to happen. Lin Yi wouldn't allow them to work with companies here, otherwise, if the association wanted to use them as a hostage and send Lin Yi to his death, it would be troublesome. This way, he'd lose some income. Thinking about Xiaoka's orphanage gave him a headache. It was too big, and it was too late to stop now. Orphans from all over the country were being sent over, and with Xiaoka and the dean's personalities, they wouldn't reject these children at the door. As Lin Yi was thinking about these things, his phone rang. Lin Yi thought it was Chi-Chi, but when he took out his phone, it was Dofeng Bro from Red Conch. Dofeng, what's up? Lin Yi quickly picked up the phone. Mr. Lin, it's like this. After a period of diligent investigation, I obtained some information. The addresses of the poison production bases of the Red Conches are all stored in the headquarters of the Red Conches. In the safe in the general manager's office of the Conch building, there is a document with the detailed coordinates of each poison production base. When I attended this year's headquarters meeting, the general manager of the Conch group, who is also the leader of the Red Conches, asked his secretary to retrieve the document from the safe when he was introducing the performance of the Red Conches. It was a yellow envelope. Elder brother Dofing quickly said, however, Zhongduozu only introduced the profits of each base. He didn't say the specific location of these poison refining bases, but I saw with my peripheral vision that there are map coordinates on it. Oh. Dofing, are you sure? This news made Lin Yi very excited. He'd been looking for Armadillo all this time, not only for himself, but also for Ziyu. Yes, I'm sure. Dofing Bro said with certainty. Good. If this is true, then I'll reward you heavily when we get back. I'll raise your strength to Earth class late phase peak. Lin Yi said. Ah. This. Dofing Bro was startled. He didn't expect Lin Yi to give him such a generous reward. Earth class late phase peak. If he really had that strength, then he might get a chi gathering pill from the headquarters or some other elixir to level up his training. That way, his strength would increase by another level, and he would be able to take on a more important position. With that thought, Dofing Bro said excitedly, Mr. Lin, if I can raise my strength to Earth class late phase peak, then I can even get a position in the headquarters. At that time, I'll continue to work for you, Mr. Lin, and find out where your friends are. Okay. Lin Yi said faintly, tell me, what's the address of the Red Conches headquarters? The headquarters of the Red Conches is in Europe's Realita town. On the Sky Crater Road, there's a red skyscraper called the Conch Skyscraper. That's the headquarters. Dofing Bro said. Realita town. Pfft. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he heard the name. When Lin Yi entered the spa center, he already felt that the name of the town was familiar. It was as if he'd heard it somewhere before. Now that Dofing Bro said it, Lin Yi realized that the town he was in was Realita town. Chapter 3258. What's wrong, Mr. Lin? Brother Dofing didn't know. When he heard Lin Yi's laughter, he felt strange. Nothing. Which floor is the general manager's office on? Lin Yi asked. I'm not sure about this. We had a meeting in the conference room. As for which floor is the general manager's office on, I'm not sure either. Brother Dofing said apologetically, I can't find out about this, it's okay. I'll find out myself. Lin Yi nodded. This was a small matter. As long as he was sure that the document was in the general manager's office, it would be fine. Okay, Mr. Lin, be careful. Brother Dofing reminded. If Lin Yi was fine, then he, Brother Dofing, would get more benefits in the future. If something happened to Lin Yi, then he would basically retire from his current position. Perhaps, he might even be dragged into this matter. Lin Yi hung up the phone and walked to the private room where Su Shihan and Cheng Yi were resting. He knocked on the door, and soon, Cheng Yi's voice came from inside. Who is it? Yi, it's me. Lin Yi said. As soon as Lin Yi's voice fell, the door opened. Cheng Yi was wearing a nightgown. Her hair was wet as she stood in front of him. Her wheat-colored skin was shining under the moisture of the steam. This made Lin Yi's eyes suddenly lit up. Needless to say, a girl like Cheng Yi who was full of wild beauty was quite attractive to men. Lin Yi was tempted once before. Now, looking at Cheng Yi standing in front of him so coolly, Lin Yi still felt a little unnatural. Yi, are you guys showering? Lin Yi didn't expect them to still be showering. No, Xiao Han is in the sauna. I'll have to switch later. Cheng Yi smiled. Do you think girls are like you, just taking a shower? Lin Yi was slightly stunned and then smiled bitterly. Yeah, every time Miss and Shoot took a bath, they would take a bubble bath or a sauna. It was just that Lin Yi didn't think so much. You're looking for Xiaohan. Seeing that Lin Yi was stunned, Qing Yi smiled and asked. She felt a little sour in her heart. Lin Yi probably wouldn't take the initiative to look for her, right? He must be here to look for Su Shihan. You are fine too. Lin Yi said. I have to go out for a while. Text me if you need anything, call me if it's urgent. Don't worry about me. Don't leave this place. Aw. You're going out. Qing Yi was stunned and asked. Yeah, there's something I need to do. Lin Yi didn't go into specifics, but he didn't need to. Well, then pay attention to your safety. Little Han and I will wait for you here. Qing Yi nodded and did not ask much. Instead, she softly said. Qing Yi was wearing a bathrobe and she was telling him that she and Xiao Han were waiting for him here. No matter how he heard it, it was a bit ambiguous. However, regardless of whether Qing Yi was seducing him or not, Lin Yi was going to leave. Looking at Lin Yi's back, Qing Yi sighed. Lin Yi asked in English. Yeah, young man, how did you know? Are you here to travel? The proprietress had nothing to do at the moment. When Lin Yi spoke, she started talking. Yes, I've been there. Judging from your accent, you should be from there. The decorations of your store and your clothes are all from there. Lin Yi did not lie. He had been to Scotland when he was on a mission in the past. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.